the Sydney Cricket Ground, round 22 continues with the Sydney Swans playing host to Melbourne. It's been a disappointing year for both clubs, the Demons having their colours lowered last week by the enigmatic Bombers, while Sydney's loss to North Melbourne was the club's 12th in succession, its worst run since moving to the harbour city in the 80s. This afternoon sees a chance for both to regroup and regain some pride. Sydney versus Melbourne, AFL Live on 7 Sport.
From the Harbour City, a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Sydney Cricket Ground. Our match today between Sydney and Melbourne, heading up a big afternoon of football and some vital games being played. The other games, of course, at Football Park in Adelaide, Adelaide and St Kilda, a very important game for the Saints there, and North Melbourne versus Collingwood. Some network stations are seeing a telecast of the Adelaide-St Kilda game from Football Park, commencing at 5:30 this afternoon, and we'll also be keeping you up to date with scores and highlights from the North Magpies game, which is at the MCG today. As I mentioned in the opening, the Swans have lost their last 12 games in a row. They're certainly trying to arrest that slump this afternoon. Their last win being here at the SCG against the Brisbane Bears way back on May the 8th. The Swans, well, they've been, I guess, competitive in recent weeks, and they led final 6 contenders Carlton for most of the match a fortnight back. Sydney, though, due for a win, and they certainly need one to get away from the bottom of the ladder. Melbourne have shown much improved form in the last few weeks, certainly in the second half of the season, but they slipped up against the Bombers last week. The Demons still have much to play for in this season. Of course, they play St Kilda and Hawthorn in the remaining couple of rounds, and so they could have a say in certainly shaping up the top 6. Now, let's look further, and when the ladder comes up, there it is now. You can see a very important position in some of the games being played today. Collingwood and North, and also the St Kilda Adelaide game, going to have a bearing on the 6, but of course Sydney would dearly love to get away from the bottom of the ladder, and of course the Demons will be keen to round out the latter half of the season on a much better note. Let's take a look at the previous encounter. It was in round 7. They played a draw. That was in round 7 at the MCG. The week after, the Swans beat the Brisbane Bears, and they haven't won a game since. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Ian Robertson and Tim Watson.
Good afternoon, Peter.
Good afternoon, Pete. Welcome back.
Good to be back, and brought the sunny Spain weather with us.
It's a fantastic day here in Sydney, and Tim, just having a bit of a chat beforehand, wasn't it the sort of day that you really enjoyed playing footy in?
No, I said I didn't enjoy playing football on a day like today. It's really, the sun does get in your eyes on a day like today, and the ball bounces around a bit. If we have a look at the Sydney side there, look down the middle, they've got a very good line of players: Scott Bays, Kelly Lewis and Minton Connell at full forward. And I think probably the key to this game will be how their centre line performs. Very experienced wingers there in Murphy and Kapler, and I think that'll have a huge bearing on the result of this game.
Melbourne, I think it's going to be their attitude that will be questioned today. We mentioned the sunny conditions, and it certainly induces a little bit of lackadaisical attitude, but the Demons, they're getting a good side on paper. Garry, Lyon, Bennett, Obbs, Jakovich, Jimmy Stein's playing pretty well, and Andy Lovell having one of his best seasons at the Melbourne Football Club, and I think it'll be an interesting clash this afternoon.
Thanks, Robert. Thanks, Tim. Got a bad crowd building up here, and as you can see, certainly summer attire is the order of the day. As we check the Mitsubishi Motors ground report now, and Robert's already mentioned it's a fairly sunny afternoon. Well, you won't argue with that. 21 degrees here at the moment, and that's already exceeded our expected maximum of 20 degrees. 44% humidity at the moment. No wind really to speak of, and so no goal advantage, and the ground in absolutely excellent conditions for our game here this afternoon. In fact, I would almost venture to suggest in the middle it could almost be a little bit hard. So the guys with the water bottles are certainly going to be working overtime this afternoon to try to keep the guys full of fluid for the match. 4 quarters of tough football coming up. We'll take a break back at the SCG after this.
Hi, I'm David Murphy from the QBE Sydney Swans. Make sure you watch all the action on Channel 7.
Delightfully manicured at the moment. It looks almost good enough for cricket, doesn't it? And we await the arrival of the Sydney Swans, and here they come now. Very important game for both teams to add some respectability to their ladder positions, and the first quarter will be getting underway shortly. Just before it does, though, for some weeks now, we've been reminding you and pointing out the advantage of getting a copy of a great little footy book called Just for Kicks. Many of our commentators have made contributions, one of whom is Dennis Commett.
Well, the interesting thing about most of these stories is hopefully they're funny in retrospect, not always the way as they're happening. A story that springs to mind for me is a trip that I went on to Muckenbudden in West Perth's country zone. It occurred shortly after I was appointed league coach. I went up there to do a coaching clinic. My wife and I arrived on the Friday night. We duly checked into the hotel and we decided to catch a movie. Now, at Muckenbudden, it wasn't difficult to find the local movie theatre. We just headed for the light down the main street. And as is the custom in country towns, they had a double bill on, 2 features. My wife and I walked in. This is before the first of them. And I'll never forget this, 8 people in the movie theatre. As we came in, they all rose to their feet. There was a standing ovation. Nothing more was said. The wife and I sat down. Now, at this stage, bear in mind, I'd never coached a game, but obviously she thought perhaps this guy can coach. I think it was a serious doubt until that time. Anyway, intermission rolled around, and this guy came charging up the steps towards me, hand extended. He said, "I've got to shake your hand." Well, I could almost feel my wife swelling with pride, and I was quite chuffed too, because here we were, Muckenbudden, the country zone, and it seemed we were being feted. But then the fellow said, "Well, are we glad you came?" The proprietor said he wouldn't show the second feature unless he got 10 in tonight.
I think you just put Muckenbudden on the map, Dennis, and I hope I've pronounced it correctly. Just for Kicks, certainly a great read, great for your footy library, and the perfect present for Father's Day, which of course is coming up shortly. Sydney and Melbourne about to do battle on the Sydney cricket ground. The Swans trying to break their drought and the Demons trying to end the season on a pretty good note. We'll find out how they go after this. Did the kick to the right of screen, but as we saw earlier in the Mitsubishi Motors ground report, no in, favoured by no breeze. It's a perfect day really, I guess, but might be a little warm for footy. Tim, who are you going for?
Well, I'm going for Melbourne. I think that they had a bit of a hiccup last week against Essendon, but their form over the past month has been pretty good, and I think they'll be wanting to finish the season on a pretty high note.
Robbo?
Yes, I'm a little bit that way, but just watching, I think the Swans will be pretty keen, Pete. I don't think there'll be much in this game, really.
No, I think it should be a good contest, and the Melbourne boys did arrive here late. I don't know whether that's a good thing or not, to get to the ground a little bit later and do your preparation somewhere else. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly they get off the mark.
No, I think the D's are good things today. Mind you, I haven't seen too much in the last couple of weeks, but obviously the Swannies must have played pretty well against Carlton.
Well, they've put up a couple of good performances. Their effort against Collingwood about 3 or 4 weeks ago wasn't that bad. Only 18 points. And Stevens and Gray are the interchange players for the Swans, and Cowell and Cuthbertson are on the interchange bench for Melbourne.
First quarter from the SCG, Sydney and Melbourne. Not a bad crowd in attendance and some cricket-like weather. Swans going to the right. Oh, mammoth punch away by Bennett. As good as a kick down towards half-back and picked up by Bayes. He didn't have many options. In fact, the only one was to go for the boundary. And he's put it over right in front of the interchange area and in front of Matthew Feet.
Well, that'll be a good contest, actually, there with Schwarz and Bayes. Schwarz lining up the centre half forward and Bayes picking him up.
Bennett and Tunbridge. And Tunbridge gets first handle on that one. Bennett second. Creswell shoots out the hand pass. Good tackle applied by Stretch, and the ball spills free and picked up for Melbourne by Andy Lovell. Lovell's kick up towards the half-forward line. No mark taken. There might be a free kick, though. Sullivan. It's going to be
it's going back
downfield.
Going back to Glenn Lovett. Shepherded out.
So he'll take the free kick at centre half-forward. Of course, Sydney not a long ground, but he's probably too far out to score. Kicking a bit from there. Kicks up towards half-forward, and no mark taken. And in fact, it was taken by Jason Mooney, who transfers it to the outer side. And a chance out there for Brunton.
A scramble there for possession. Brunton does well, gets it out to Lewis. Lewis's kick is pretty ordinary in the finish. Stretch, Lovett, now Lovell, in towards the centre of the ground. Sean White. Oh, they've done it well now, Melbourne. Phoebe to Glenn Lovett. Glenn Lovett's kick to a full forward. Jakovich at the back. Cleaned up there by Dunkley, and his kick. Well, I don't think Andrew Dunkley would be impressed with that if he had a look at it on the replay, Tim.
No, it's one area of his game that he does need to improve, but he's been a good performer so far for the Swans since he came from Tasmania. And I'm surprised then that Jakovich didn't go for the mark.
Jakovich from deep in that right forward pocket, kicks it into the square, no mark taken. Tunbridge, hand pass. Chance now for Kelly. Hand pass over the top. Good play there by Murphy to duck the tackle. Ball finishes up with Bays. Watch this man kick the football. Doesn't miss the target very often, and that's a beautiful pass. And the mark is taken by Strooper. Strooper's just wide of the centre. He's going to give the hand pass away. Don't really know whether it was to the advantage of the Swans. Kelly was standing still, but Paul Kelly, playing his 50th game, his kick into the right half forward area has been quite easily marked by Sean White, and he's about 50 metres from the Swans' goal.
Well, I don't think he'd be too happy with that effort either. Kick by White. Schwarz, good use of the body, got front position and came down with the football. Schwarz from left centre wing, kicks to an open Melbourne forward line. A marking contest out there, sharked well by Sullivan. 45-metre hand pass just about. Jakovich should score first goal and does.
Now, creative young players in the competition lining up at full back on Alan Jakovich.
Yes, we've seen a lot of players switched around this year from forward positions to back positions, trying to find themselves a regular game and a niche.
Now Wheeler kicks the Swans up towards full forward. No mark taken. The ball rebounds into the pocket. Yates cleans up beautifully. And the kick is quite good. And it finds Glenn Lovett just outside the 50-metre zone at right half back for the Demons. Glenn Lovett, his kick high. Lyon from behind punches. Garry Lyon still in the action. Lovell is caught and tackled pretty well by Barry Mitchell. The ball there. Garry Lyon just gets his foot to it. And is it being touched as he kicked the football? Maybe.
I think so, Robert.
Because the boundary umpire out there is indicating that we will have a throw in, and it's exactly on centre wing on that far side of the ground.
Dion Scott goes up against Steins. Kick around the body by Kelly. Awkward bounce. Lovett again. Dummies the hand pass and then gets around Wheeler. Marking contest on the centre wing position. None can take it. And finally the veteran, Stevie Wright. Wheeler, good effort to mark, and he's been rewarded for his efforts. He's dragged it in just inside the boundary line. In fact, he's hugged the boundary line with his kick, really to the advantage of the side, maybe looking for luff down there.
Gee, we've seen some hairstyles, but Matthew Wheeler, certainly the trendsetter in AFL football with the black flowing locks.
Pretty hard to miss. He's almost a Yannick Noah lookalike, isn't he, out there? Rather hot today, I would think. Chance for the Swans to go forward. Melbourne's defence standing up well. In fact, the umpires found a free kick. It's going to the Demons to be taken by Brett Lovett. Goes across the ground, squares the ball, picked up by Graham Yates. Yates has kicked pretty well straight down the corridor. It's been pretty busy, Sullivan. He can pick this up again. He can. That beautiful hand pass before went further than that kick, actually. So Sydney under plenty of pressure in the opening moments. Murphy already down a goal. And the ball, will it bounce out? Yes, in front of David Strooper.
The Swans are going to have to get the ball into their forward line very quickly. Melbourne are playing a 7-man back line. If the ball goes in slowly and wide, then they get all the more time to set up their defence.
Just before the wing, in the Swans forward half, Steins gets his foot to the ball. Chance here for the Swans through Holmes. His high kick has been quite easily marked there by Brett Lovett. So some indiscriminate kicking into attack by both sides. Yates is clear. His kick again is not all that good. And quite a simple mark taken back there by Mooney. Sweeping hand pass to Stevie Wright. What a great Trojan he's been for the Red and Whites, Stevie Wright. And he's going to be honoured here in Sydney in the next week or so with the testimonial, which is fantastic. Brett Lovett receiving from Todd Viney. His kick in towards half forwards. Another kick that falls in short. Bennett hard on Kelly. And in comes Dunkley to remonstrate with Darren Bennett. He might... Oh, he's been reported.
Taken his number.
Well, I thought it might have been 50 metres, but I don't know whether that constitutes a report.
What's that, Tim? What, unduly rough play, I guess, is it?
I think it's...
Oh, it has to be. Sorry to clean bowl you with that one, but...
It's been reported for bumping, I think.
Look, if he doesn't do it, Timmy,
he'd get dragged.
The runner goes out straight out, doesn't he?
That's right. I mean, he didn't do anything untoward.
Well, Weir's getting 50. You're right in that part.
Goodness me, they are turning it into tiki-touch for Duncan.
There's still a bit of jostling out there. Going for the short one, Kelly. Well, that was bad checking. Mitchell on the boundary line, steers one home, and the Swans get their first goal.
That's into the first term. Schwarz a big punch, picked off by Obst. Garry Lyon from 40 metres, straight in front. Garry Lyon kicks a goal for the Demons. Well, they answered that one very quickly, Melbourne, getting the ball out of the centre and some sure ball handling across half forward.
Yes, that's the quickest way home here at the SCG, straight down the guts. And that was a wonderful bit of play there by Obst. A good handball over to Lyon, and Lyon, who looks to be ruck roving, has been picked up by Brunton, following on the beautiful kick.
The Swans have already made a change. Lewis off, and I think it was Troy Gray that came on. Yes, there he is, number 48. So back into the centre, 2 goals to 1 in favour of the Demons.
Lewis going straight up the race.
Lovett. Well, maybe that bump was harder than we thought. Mooney. Effective hand pass onto Bays from left half-back flank. A little bit of edging out there, but the mark behind the pack taken by Graham Yates. Centres it for Robbins. Robbins on the edge of the square, and the Demons will go forward again. Sean White just off the circle. White's kicked down inside 50, and on the lead is Jakovich, who marks. He will be kicking from about 55 out. Inboard. Didn't have a shot at goal. Chance for the Demons again. Well, right overruns the ball. They might make him pay. Mitchell, who's kicked the Swans' only goal. Lyon, who replied with a quick one. Ball knocked further upfield. An opportunity now for Keogh. He looks for Lyon. Gee, that's barely travelled the required distance. But the umpire has paid the mark. And Garry Lyon, as we saw, can kick the ball long. He's kicked 1 goal already. And a chance to put the Demons further in front. Same distance out, actually, that Jakovich was on this side of the ground. Jakovich electing to go for the short pass. Garry Lyon, from all appearances, is going to have a shot.
He's almost gone back to the wing, though, hasn't he?
A bigger run-up than Wes Hall.
Don't mind that. I reckon that a lot of young fellas can take a leaf out of his book. He's a very good kick, Garry Lyon.
He's got the distance, and the accuracy looks pretty good. That's a ripper kick. It's a goal. 2 goals to Garry Lyon.
Stamped himself on this game. He's kicked 2 goals. And we'd think that he's playing as a ruck rover. Todd Viney struggling hard at the bottom of that pack to get the ball out, but the umpire will call for a bounce. We can tell you that there has already been a report. Darren Bennett, number 19 for Melbourne. We feel it could be unduly rough play, crashing into Paul Kelly. There's the Melbourne interchange bench. It's young Cowell from Claremont and Cuthbertson. Now's a chance for the Swans through Brunton. His kick across his left shoulder, bounces awkwardly, gets tapped in towards centre half forward for the Swans. Now a chance for them through Luff. Luff's high kick close to the boundary line. It goes out on the full. So the free kick will be taken in that back pocket by Brett Lovett. No, it's going to be taken by Rode. No, Lovett was the right man. Away to Rode. No, it's not allowed. You must come back. Kick over the man on the mark, says the umpire. And Brett Lovett will have to do it all over again. Looking for a short pass. Viney was giving him the lead, but the kick is high out towards the wing. No mark taken. Big punch from Tunbridge, but a free kick has been picked out of it, and it's going to go to Steins, and a very, very slight bump on Jimmy Steins, and he takes the free kick just behind the wing. Handballs away to Keogh, which is not bad because Keogh's on his favoured side, and he gets hold of the kick in towards the centre half forward position. No mark taken. Swans through Murphy. David Murphy, quick kick near the wing. Steins, no, he's beaten for it. Chance for Kelly from the Wagga Rovers. Oh, that tackle was a bit high, wasn't it? Paul Kelly looking at the umpire, but accepting the decision in the way it was delivered. Oh. And play will go on. We'll have a boundary throw in on centre wing.
Big crowded it is around the bounce. Well, the throw in. Swans ball again. Maybe they can make something of this. Tap out by Kapler. Murphy. Mitchell looking for a free kick. Comes up with a football. Gutsy little player who's kicked their only goal so far. Looping hand pass. Sean White, you're gone. So the Swans will take the free kick. Too far out to score from it. And it's going to be Dion Scott looking for it. And might be 50 metres there is. The ball wasn't given back in the required manner.
Good decision, wasn't it?
It was a good decision, and I was just looking upfield at that time to see where they were going to place the ball from there, because the Melbourne players had come down to build a wall across the half-back line, and it was almost going to be impossible. They were just going to have to put one up in the air, so Scott's got a real chance now to kick a goal.
So a chance to bring the Swans a little bit closer. They trail 18-6 at the moment. And Lewis back on the ground. He went, maybe he dislocated a finger. He went straight up the race. He'll be coming back on pretty quickly, I would think. So Dion Scott, chance for his first goal and Sydney's second. And that might just scrape in for a behind. It has done. So 1 point kick by Dion Scott. Not a kick he'll remember.
The efforts of the players up the field, when a guy gets a shot like that, gee, it's disappointing, isn't it?
It is. They need to be rewarded with something a little bit better than that. And he only took a couple of steps then. You're right about Lyon going back a long way and steadying himself.
Well, one of the best shots for goal in the history of the VFL and AFL was Peter Hudson, and he always believed that you must take 8 or 10 steps in setting yourself up for a shot at goal. Matthew Phoebe, kicked towards half forward, picked up beautifully by Obst. Keogh fumbles, but he gathers it beautifully the second time, shrugs the tackle, shrugs the second, still got the footy, and then kicks it close to the boundary line. It's out on the full, and Rod Keogh.
That's a lot of work for a nil result, that is.
Dale Lewis back on the ground at the expense of Gray, and the Swans get the ball in towards centre half back. Tunbridge, Lewis into the play already. Gee, he's well balanced, Dale Lewis. I love to watch him play footy. Holmes, hand pass in towards centre half forward. The bounce is awkward. Chance here for Luff. Yates leads in the race for the ball. At the back is Mooney. Yates gets his kick away, and it's pretty good too there by Graham Yates. He really didn't have too much to kick to, so he sought the safety of the boundary line. There's Stephen Stretch in the picture, one of the Melbourne stalwarts, and a boundary throw in on centre wing. It's about 2 kicks from the Swans goal. Wheeler has a chance, tackled by Stretch, and pass now finishes up with Brunton. His kick in towards centre half forward. Oh, excellent mark. Terrific mark taken by Minton Connell. Kick coming from Cresswell, rather, and Minton Connell's mark was a beauty.
Yeah, he's been a real find for the Sydney Swans this year. The Sydney cricket ground.
His kicking's let him down a bit too, Tim, hasn't it?
He's kicked 47-32. So I suppose if his conversion rate was a little better, he'd have maybe over 55 goals, but he missed a few games early in the season, but by gee, that's pretty straight.
To reduce the deficit now to 5 points. Getting pretty warm out there. Matthew Phoebe goes down at the bottom of the pack, and there will be a bounce at centre half forward for Sydney. No wind advantage. Perfect day for football, but certainly on the warm side. Steins and Tunbridge. Ball hits the deck again. Holmes with a hand pass. Kicked out of the pack pretty quickly. Yates tried to punch it clear and missed it. He's got backup support from Robbins. Good tackle by Kapler. Ball's out of bounds, I think, on the forward. Yes, it is. Free kick Sydney at left half forward.
Yes, and expect Yates to get quite a few possessions today. He's playing the spare man in the back line for Melbourne, so when the ball goes down there, he'll be the fellow who'll be doing a lot of cleaning up.
Strooper to take the free kick. He's pretty well right on the 50 line. He'll come in a little bit closer. The angle is fairly acute, although Barry Mitchell kicked the goal from there earlier in the quarter. Maybe the angle wasn't quite as bad. Gee, that's not a bad kick. I think it's a goal. Sydney in front. A great kick by David Strooper. So 3-1 to 3 goals, and Sydney hit back after the Demons had shot to a 2-goal lead. 2 of those, of course, kicked by Garry Lyon. And let's look at this kick again. Tim, what a gem.
It's a wonderful kick, isn't it? It's a very difficult angle to kick the ball from. And Strooper and Minton Connell have been real finds for the Swans this year. They've really given them some bite in attack. Strooper from Fitzroy struggled to get a regular game there. And as we see a lot of players come to their second side and make a real fist of it.
So Sydney leading by a point. Good standard game so far at the SCG. That tackle a little bit high on Kelly. He gets dumped. The umpire calls play on as the ball spills free. But Sydney repelling that thrust pretty quickly. Ball booted away by Mooney towards centre wing. Strooper again. Just off the edge of the square. Centering kick, marking contest. Steins got underneath it. Creswell, left foot snap, going close. And Phoebe might have got into the back of his opponent down there. But the umpire says no. That's Darren Kapler, and it's through for 1 behind. So the Swans take their lead now to 2 points.
Good play then by Minton Connell to make that challenge on Steins and create a crumb, an opportunity for someone there to pick the ball up and have a snap.
It's Yates for Melbourne. Kicks it outside 50 metres. Lyon at the back. It's punched away by Scott, picked up by Lovell from Melbourne. His kick high towards centre half forward. Marking contest. It's punched away there by Mooney. Goes back towards the wing. Stretch. Just a little kick in front of himself. And we'll have a boundary throw in on centre wing just down in front of this commentary area.
Robbo, and Brunton, who started on Lyon, has now been shifted off him. Brunton's gone onto Obst and Holmes has gone onto Lyon.
Well, obviously Garry Buckenara concerned about some matchups. Still there to be one. Now Schwarz, strong. Stretch. Tunbridge equally as determined. Cresswell, Mitchell, Tunbridge. Now finishes with Bays. Bays kick. Well, little ordinary in the finish. Minton Connell trying to gather the ball. Road there for Melbourne. Strooper forces it clear. Scott, handball over the top. Minton Connell gathers nicely. Cresswell, here's a goal for the Swans. Cackler.
The Swans with 2 quick goals, hit back 4-2 to 3 goals. 26 plays 18 onto the Melbourne forward line. Schwarz, good grab, and he has the chance to post a quick reply for the Demons.
Well, this fellow has the potential to be one of the most exciting young players in the AFL.
He's got a good leap, hasn't he? Good pair of hands and pretty sure mark.
Strong too.
Only 20. Distance won't be a problem from there, obviously. 10 metres out. Accuracy, oh gee, have to wait on the goal umpire. He's moved across, now it's a goal. Tricky like that sometimes. So 4-2 to 4 goals. Sydney's lead cut to 2 points in this game, opening at almost a crackerjack pace, isn't it, in this heat?
Well, maybe Garry Buckenara making those moves around the centre confused some of those players, because they ended up with 5 in the centre square, the Swans, and Melbourne getting a free kick out of the centre, straight onto Lyon and setting up that goal.
So back to the centre once more, 2 points the difference. And a free kick this time. Tunbridge, a fresh air shot as he tried to fist it over his head, and picked up for Melbourne by Sean White. He's kicked it well right out to the wing. Keogh leading Mooney in the race for the ball. He's right on the boundary line, and with that number 31 on his back, he doesn't look like, unlike Ron Barassi, the way he runs at the ball. And Lyon takes his opponent out there. Andrew Dunkley over the line. We'll see a throw in about 45 metres out from the Melbourne goal.
So he backs his judgment, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's pretty aggressive young fellow, Rod Keogh, on the football field. But I think Melbourne will be looking for some improvement. 20-year-olds are prevalent. They've got young Sullivan, who's only 20 years of age, 21 years of age, Rod Keogh, and another 20-year-old we saw just a moment ago, David Schwarz. There's a mark taken in defence for the Swans, and very well done there by Dunkley. Handballs away to Kelly. Kelly's forced to kick high, which, well, it really wasn't the play, was it, Tim?
No, it was a poor kick.
Bad option. Lovell's pass is magnificent and hits Garry Lyon right on the chest, 45 metres directly in front.
Now they're going to have to tighten up on this fellow here. You just cannot afford to give Garry Lyon this sort of latitude.
Well, is there a player in the Swans lineup that you could give the job to, do you think, just quickly looking now? Assessing the
Bays would be the man, wouldn't he, Robert?
Well, I think Bays is going to have his job cut out on Schwarz. Schwarz is a fairly tall sort of a player.
Well, Lyon from 45 metres directly in front for goal number 3. He makes no mistake.
Hot and spicy.
3 goals kicked by Garry Lyon already, so it looks like it's going to be a high-scoring game. 9 scored so far, and we've still got 6.5 minutes left in the first quarter. Obst hacked it out of the air up to Melbourne's half-forward line. The rebound hits Glenn Lovett. Kicked it out towards the right half-forward flank. Bennett, good shepherd for Sullivan. And Sullivan's kick, unfortunately for Melbourne, has gone straight out of bounds on the full. So good pressure. Oh, no, it hasn't.
No, it was smothered off the boot.
A throw in. 45 out.
The job on Garry Lyon is with young Darren Holmes.
Tunbridge over the top. Mitchell, well tackled by Todd Viney. Might have been a little bit late. Mitchell looking at the umpire.
Barry Mitchell didn't think it was a good tackle.
So the Swans have worked it forward about 10 metres. Tunbridge, this time against Schwarz. Bays with a quick but wobbly kick up towards the centre square. Murphy. Now he gets tackled by 2 of them. He's sandwiched down there. And it will be bounced 45 metres again. Out from Melbourne's goal, this time directly in front. 4-2 plays 5 goals, 5.5 minutes left in the first quarter. Steins took off early, the ball fisted back again to Glenn Lovett. He's knocking up possessions in the first quarter and covering a lot of territory to get them, but a good mark taken by Lewis, almost in the last line of defence. Went off the ground for a while. He seems to be okay though, so maybe the injury wasn't as serious as we first thought. Stevie Wright farms out the hand pass. Creswell. Phoebe gives away a pretty good hand pass in the end. Lovett. That was Brett Lovett this time. Up to Obst. Garry Lyon gets almost taken out of it and then miraculously comes up with the football. Has to get rid of it quickly and does so. It's pretty tough in close there. Stretch has it over the top. It's all Sydney though, and the Swans will be able to get clear through Mark Bayes, who kicks to centre wing.
And Steins just too tall there over the top of Creswell. He transfers play to the centre of the ground. Yates has come up from the back pocket. Doesn't mind backing himself, Graham Yates. Kick nearly marked by Bennett. Oh, he's piggybacked. And in the result attempt to get at the footy, he's into the back of Andrew Dunkley.
Well, Robbo, you said on the way up you wanted to be a race caller.
That's it. Away we go. The jockeys and the horses. Here's Dale Lewis into the right left half forward area. Strooper, Robbins off the ground, and it bounces just inside the boundary line. So we'll have a throw in about 65 to 70 metres around from the Swans' goal. The Swans are 4-2. Melbourne have kicked 5 straight, and Garry Lyon has kicked 3 of those 5.
Steins at the back with Scott. Won by Scott. Looks for Strooper. Finds him at the boundary line is too close. Sydney probably making about 5 metres.
If we look into both sides' backlines, Melbourne have got 2 spare men, and so have the Sydney Swans.
Up high down there was Luff, and the boundary umpire will be the centre of attention again.
What does that do? Is that sort of to try and get some first use of the football when the ball comes up, just to outnumber the opposition?
Well, a lot of sides are playing that to so they've got numbers, and then they just bring the ball down in waves down the field.
Scott and Steins again. Luff over the top. Brett Lovett, good hand pass onto Glenn Lovett. As I said, he's had about 10 possessions so far in the first quarter. Stevie Wright. Oh, gee, almost deliberate, Steve, but the field umpire lets him go.
He's a good aggressive player. Schwarz even getting his hand to that ball, didn't he? Caused a crumb on the forward line. Always competing.
Schwarz and Tunbridge. Sullivan. Down towards Lewis. Oh, the bouncers beat him. I don't think he touched it. It's a goal. Bounced the wrong way, and he backed himself in. That was Sullivan, who had an assist in a goal earlier with a lovely long hand pass.
Yes, I think we might see a change there too. I think Sullivan, a very fit young player, very quick, will-o'-the-wisp type player, being picked up by Stevie Wright, and he's leading Stevie Wright a merry dance at the moment. And I think that the Sydney Swans may make a change pretty soon and put someone else onto young Sullivan.
And 4-2, the Swans trailing Melbourne, who are 6 goals, and they'll get the ball out of the centre again here, Melbourne, through Lovell away to Sean White. White, a thumping kick towards full forward. Crumb gatherer will be Jakovich. No, the bounce is awkward, but he gets it back. No, he's given away a free kick. Perhaps holding his opponent in his endeavours to get hold of the football, Alan Jakovich, and the free kick will be taken in that last line of defence.
He's an interesting player to watch, Jakovich, isn't he? He plays a full forward almost as an opportunist.
Well, it was taken by Wright. He got the hand pass away to Brunton. His kick has been marked by Wheeler, and Wheeler is just outside 50 metres for the Demons. He'll kick it back near the wing. Coming up from the back pocket was Yates, but it's picked off by Steins. The vision was all right. Steins went down behind play. He's still on his back, Jimmy Steins, with his legs in the air. Up towards full forward. Bennett. Big leap from behind. And conditions that would suit Darren Bennett. There's Jimmy Steins. Not too happy. Well, the old, I suppose, has been knocked around a bit by a few players over the years, Jimmy Steins, but Darren Bennett, a good effort to mark there at full forward. Bennett for his first goal, directly in front, and he makes no mistake. So Darren Bennett kicks his first goal, and Melbourne doing everything right, Tim. They're getting the ball in front of goals, which is making their scoring opportunities quite simple.
Yes, they're centering up the ball very well, as we see Steins just cop one then from Luff across the nose, and he appears to be all right. He's lining up there back in the centre, ready to take the centre bounce. But Darren Bennett, they really do need him firing. He's playing in the forward pocket alongside Jakovich, and he's the long target. Jakovich tends to be the crummer and the opportunist down there in the full forward line.
So the biggest lead of the game so far, 16 points in Melbourne's favour, just over a minute left in the first quarter. Viney had the opportunity to grab the ball. It's going to be a free kick Melbourne's way, and I think Viney's going to take it.
Well, I missed that, Robbo. Was that for around the neck, was it?
I think it was again a fairly straightforward thing. When players are in crunches like that, what do the umpires expect them to do? Allow the guy a free passage through. I mean, you have to stand there, and quite wonder sometimes that they're perhaps a little too technical.
So Todd Viney with the chance to put Melbourne further ahead as he boots it long up towards full forward. No mark taken. Obst overruns the ball. Brunton looking for a free kick. There was none. A quick hand pass comes out in the direction of Mooney. Mooney's kick up towards the edge of the square, and maybe Creswell over to Wheeler will be something that the Swans can build on. Wheeler, his kick lands inside 50, not too much there. Road steaming out of defence, well clear of Luff. He kicks the ball up towards Yates on the centre wing. I think he's trapped it just inside. Yes, he has. And Melbourne, maybe they can score. Lovell kicks up towards Bennett. Bennett is out position. And not having a great day with the umpire so far, Darren Bennett, and having a few words to say. A la Tony Shaw, Mike Willesee would be not happy with the scoreboard at the moment. The Swans have got a free kick with only a few seconds of the quarter remaining, and probably won't be any further scores. Keogh claiming it. No, he's not claiming it. He's giving it back. So Kapler gets it up and turned to Paul Kelly. Kelly's kick, badly delivered one, it would appear. Minton Connell really was totally out of position there. Ball cleared away by Brett Lovett right on the siren, with Melbourne leading by 16 points at the first change. The Demons 7 goals straight. Excellent kicking, 42, leading Sydney 4-2, 26. Garry Lyon has 3 goals. Schwarz, Jakovich and Bennett singles. And for Sydney, Barry Mitchell, Darren Kapler, David Strooper have kicked goals as Gary Buckenara really lays down the law to the Swans at the moment. They got off to a good start, but Melbourne on top in the latter part of the term. Now, let's take a look at some of the first quarter highlights. The difference, Tim, can Sydney get back into the match?
Well, they can definitely get back into the match. As we look at the stats at the quarter time, Melbourne outscoring them in the kick department, 61-45 handballs. Sydney Swans went pretty wide when they were trying to go forward, so really you can't read much into those statistics, but it was a reasonably even first quarter.
Second term begins. Sydney trailing by 16 points. 7 goals straight kicked by Melbourne, and Sydney 4 goals too. Incidentally, the black armbands worn by the Sydney players are for Andrew McGovern's father, who passed away in Perth this week. Kicked by Sean White. He's out of bounds in front of Schwarz.
I think one of the interesting statistics at the bottom of that list was 8 centre breaks to 3 in favour of Melbourne, and that generally gives you an idea of who's leading on the scoreboard.
Yes, they've been controlling in the centre bounce there and pushing the ball straight into their forward line on this short ground.
Kelly, one of the real constructive players in the Sydney lineup, nearly gets pegged back, kicks up towards half forward, and Minton Connell on a long lead and takes a very good mark. Took a spectacular grab in the first quarter, and he made no mistake with that kick. A little bit further out here, and he's going to have a shot. Kicking from about 55 metres. Real up and under job. It might just get there. There's not a bad effort. Looks pretty good. It's a goal. Just what Sydney wanted to start the second quarter. Simon Minton Connell gets his second and Sydney's 5th. They trail by 10 points.
It's a great start for the Sydney Swans in the second quarter. Great bit of play then by Kelly to break away from the pack, take a bounce. All the forwards led up right up the ground, which created a lot of space back there for Minton Connell. Early in the first quarter, we saw Melbourne being able to block the hole, but on that occasion, with that type of player running, breaking the play up, it creates downfield. And Minton Connell had a huge space then to run into, and finishing it off with a good kick from about 55 metres.
And he's quickly adjusted to the Sydney cricket ground. He seems to know where he can kick goals from, doesn't he? Like, he didn't hesitate then to assess and say, well, I can bomb it through from here.
Yes, no, he seems to have worked his ground out pretty well.
So Simon Minton-Connell kicks his second goal. The Swans get their fifth. They still trail by 10 points. So a pretty interesting match here. Kelly again has the football, but he's dispossessed now by Schwarz. Underneath all that is Paul Kelly. And the umpire will call for a bounce.
And Bennett's gone into the ruck. He's changed with Jim Stein. Stein's gone down to the forward pocket next to Alan Jakovich.
Just early doors in the second quarter here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. These two teams played a draw earlier in the season at the MCG. Here's Wheeler. He's well tackled. And holding the ball. Gee, red hot that.
That was red hot. He didn't try and get around it, did he?
Schwarz. Oh, that pass is good. The lead was all right. Oh, Jakovich dropped it. He must have had something done with it before it even gathered it. Jakovich caught with the football. Through comes Sullivan. Chance now for Lyon. He throws it onto his left foot, Garry Lyon. And in his endeavours to get onto his foot pretty quickly, kicked it out of bounds on the foot.
I think you'll find the sun shines in the player's eyes from that position, and that might have been the reason why he missed that mark.
So Lewis, who is playing on Alan Jakovich. Strange move, but still. He's back there at full-back. He's got a big job to do to contain that full forward. There's Steins. His kick, free kick. Which is maybe going to the Swans to be taken by their rover. And acting captain Barry Mitchell gets the handball away to Bayes. Bayes' kick goes wide out towards the wing. Steins. And that was well done, I thought. A lot of occasions when you see that happen, the free kick is given away by that player running back.
Yes, he kept his eyes on the ball then, Steins.
Boundary throw in out of side. Tunbridge and Steins. He's plucked out another free kick here.
Against Steins.
A big Tunbridge gets on his bike, off he goes. Kicks into the corridor. Can take the mark. Wheeler couldn't handle it either. Up towards Sullivan, who played a very good first quarter. Let himself down there with that kick. Bayes onto that trusty left foot. Kicks long this time. And then Kapler took off the four nominations. Strooper, rather. They must play a free kick. Robbins. Kicks out wide. Lovell. Marking contest out there. Viney over the back. Glenn Lovett. He had more than 10 possessions in the first quarter. He was very, very constructive around the ground. So boundary throw-in at Melbourne's right half forward flank. 21 minutes left in the second quarter. And the Demons leading 7-5. Bayes again. Gets dragged off the football. But the Swans are going to get clear. Ball booted long out of the fence up towards left half forward. Robbins late on the scene. Could have given away a free kick. The umpire says no. Play on. Ball bounces kindly for Luff. He tried to get round onto his right foot and does. A couple of options out there, and this time David Strooper takes the mark. He's kicked one goal.
He's got to move it quickly.
Minton-Connell makes a lead. Oh, and marks. Good football. He had that knee problem earlier in the year, but it doesn't seem to be troubling him now. Really moved like lightning here and took the pass out in front of his face.
The Strooper was waiting then for the players to clear that space for Minton-Connell.
So Simon's kicked 2 goals so far. And he's now kicked 3.
Touch.
No touch, right on the line.
I think White was even surprised that the umpire paid that a touch on that occasion. He'd given it up as a goal.
2 goals, 1 his tally. 5-3 to 7 goals, 9 points the difference.
Kick in by Robbins to the far side. The mark is taken out there by Matthew Phoebe. And a little bit of football trivia. You wouldn't often see a twin replaced in the side, senior side, by his identical twin. Stephen Phoebe and Matthew Phoebe. Stephen at the moment playing in the Melbourne reserves, was a regular member of this senior Melbourne team, and Matthew, his twin brother, is now in the side. That kick into the left forward pocket. Jakovich just looks a little out of sorts.
Quite right about that twin business, Robbo. I've never heard that before.
Ball trivia. Anyway, the football here at the Sydney Cricket Ground is still pretty interesting. Demons, through accurate kicking, 7 straight. They've got the football in their forward pocket, but now the Swans will clear it away. Mitchell wide towards the wing, a little bit too far there for Tunbridge, who had such a magnificent start to the season. Brad Tunbridge probably led 2 or 3 of the media awards.
Probably will lead the Brown though too, I would say.
In the first
early
7
part,
or 8 rounds. That's very true. He did play excellently in the early part of the season, and he's doing well against Steins. There's a free kick to Mitchell, and umpire Howlett officiating, not wanting to kick the ball too much. Barry Mitchell, handball away to Kapler. He's kicked to centre half foot. Excellent mark by Luff. Yes, the admiration there because he stood his ground. He knew he was going to get crunched, and he did it very well. Pass is wider still to Bays. He's probably not closer to goal. Lets one go, Mark Bays, right to the goal line, and a pretty simple mark taken in the finish by David Schwarz. He kicks it away quickly. Lovell is at right half back. He's got a little bit of space in front of himself. Now he just sets it up in towards the centre of the ground. And Bays, who's going to be paid that mark? The man in front, who was Glenn Lovett, or Mark Bays over the back? Mark Bays will take the mark. Plays on quickly, gets the hand pass away to Mooney. Mooney goes long. Oh, a bit of a dust-up behind play between Stevie Wright and Obbs. Big punch away, goes out towards half-back. The gather is by Stretch. He can't get away. He's tackled very, very well. And that's Luff again.
That's inspirational stuff then by Luff. Melbourne were away, had Schwarz got around him, and he just laid a great tackle then.
Recruited from Nelson Bay. He's playing his...
Up Newcastle way, I think, Robbo.
17th game. He's kicked 16 goals. So, not really what you'd call a household name, Troy Luff, but 2 efforts in the last 5 minutes have been fantastic by this young man. And this is not bad either. This is very good. It's a goal.
The deficit now only 3 points. Murphy pinned pretty solidly. The ball spills free. And Sydney should be able to go forward again. They've lifted their work rate after a tongue lashing by Garry Buckenara in the quarter-time break. This is Creswell. Gets the hand pass away. Brunton. A short pass down towards right half forward. Good tackle applied by Viney. Kelly trying to break that one as Gray. Troy Gray. Holmes only collides with Murphy. Murphy comes out looking for options. Now goes back a little bit and finds Jason Mooney. Punch away. Plenty of Melbourne players down there. Sean White should be able to do the tidying up work. He does. Stretch, who was caught in that holding the ball decision before, is now going to come away with it. Kapler giving chase, won't catch him. And a good pass. Jim Steins, left centre wing. That where he got bowled over by Luff in the first quarter. Marking contest at half forward. Might be a free kick going Demons' way. Be taken by Lovett. Glenn Lovett. Too far out to score. Kick and a half from goal. Strong mark, Darren Bennett. Deceptively tall. And he won't have any trouble getting the distance from there.
And that will gladden the hearts of all Melbourne supporters. Bennett did that to Essendon last year about 5 times in the 1 quarter, I think.
Got vivid memories, obviously, Tim, of that. It's a goal.
Garry Lyon has kicked 3. And for the Sydney Swans, Simon Minton-Connell has kicked 2. Melbourne get the ball up to half forward. The bounce very awkward. Chance for Obbs. Geez, clever. Jakovich too slow, far too slow. Tackled by Stevie Wright. In goes Lewis. Well done, Dale Lewis, to make it a little bit difficult there for the Demons to get clear.
So that was wonderful play then by Wright, wasn't it, to get back onto Jakovich. And often you see players in that situation when they're running someone down, push them in the back. It was a perfect tackle.
Bounce about 35 metres from the Melbourne goal. Schwarz, Kapler. Obst was in the action there. Sullivan. And the umpire will be forced to bounce. Scott and Wheeler. Scott looks as though he's got some problems with a heel, maybe.
Blisters. Second skin they were applying then, Robert.
Dr. Watson, I presume. Free kick out of the ruck contest, and it will go to the Swans to be taken back there by Mark Bays. Gee, they look a little bit better with Bays into their side.
Kicks out towards right centre wing, and David Strooper The mail was that he was going to be on the sidelines today, but it was Nettlebeck who was the late withdrawal.
Oh, you've got a punch.
Yes, from the back, Sean White had no trouble marking there, or from the front.
When you're behind like that, you've just got to bring the ball to the ground.
White's kick, he kicked to two Sydney players out there. Then Lovett again. Seems to be everywhere. Jakovich this time on the burst. Turns nearly over the boundary line. Has kept the ball in play. Knocked down by Lovell. Chance for Keogh. Tries to barge his way through again. Not too much science about that. He got taken high and must get a free kick.
What would you do, Tim, out there on that right half forward flank with Alan Jakovich? He should have made that mark, shouldn't he, from Glenn Lovett? He stopped and propped and let the ball bounce in front of himself.
Yes, well, it appeared from here that he should have gone and taken the ball full on and taken a mark, but I don't know, maybe he's down in confidence a bit and misread the ball.
So Rod Keogh kicks from 49 metres. Won't get the distance. And the ball, I think, hit the bottom of the post. Yes, it did. So one behind to the Demons.
It's the first.
It is. 8-1, 8 in a row. Some sort of a record. Lewis kicks in. Taken by Neil Brunton. Punch away by Garry Lyon. Good as a kick, that one. Nest of Swans down there, but they mess it up. And this is going to result in a goal. Bennett will get his third. Yes, he has done. So he's drawn level with Garry.
So play recommenced back near the centre. Tunbridge gets the tap out. Cresswell's kick towards half forward. And a good effort there. The mark is taken by Strooper. Strooper is just, well, he probably kicked from about 50 metres. The player on the mark is about 45 metres from goal. That player on the mark is Robbins. Here's Strooper. Pretty good forward for the Sydney Swans. That kick is not too good, and the mark has been taken back there for Melbourne by Peter Rhodes. Strooper's kicked 40 goals, 24, to be at present running second behind Simon Minton-Connell with 47 goals, 32. Yates has the football at left half back for Melbourne. His kick up towards the wing, no mark taken. Melbourne seem to be able to gather the crumbs a little bit better than the Swans. Here's Schwarz, gives away a bit of ground, goes back to Steins. Steins' kick is not bad from an awkward position. Sullivan, like the look of him, kick into the pocket, not really all that advantageous for Jakovich, and the ball is forced over for a boundary throw in. Darren Bennett there.
It was a poor kick that by Sullivan. Jakovich had got away from his man Lewis, and he needed the ball out in front. The ball went just too high and too wide.
Left forward pocket for Melbourne. Bennett doing the ruck work, looking for the free kick. Lovell across his left shoulder. Not a bad effort by Andy Lovell, but he just couldn't quite hook it enough, and it's through for his first score of the day, which is the Demons' second behind. 9-2 plays 6-3, and we've got just under 11 minutes left in the second term.
Mark free kick to Bays, who goes back, finds Paul Kelly, and Kelly's kick marked by Brunton. Brunton at right half back to Sydney, trailing at the moment 6-3 to 9-2, and Murphy gets taken high. Mark free kick, and again going back. Brunton kicks up towards Mooney. He was just about off, wasn't he? Hand pass is effective, taken by Troy Gray. One of those awkward bounces didn't favour Gary Stevens. Good tackle there by Schwarz. And the umpires plucked out a free kick to Sydney.
He's held on to him too long after the tackle.
Kelly's kick, but Bays goes long. Oh, badly directed kick, and Yates, that could be 50. Yes, it is. Sometimes they're paid, sometimes they're not. This time it is.
As we mentioned earlier in the telecast, Yates playing back in the back line as a spare man.
So Melbourne just seem to have their measure at the moment. Bays this time. Gee, the Sydney guys could have spoiled each other down there. This time he'll be hoping to find a man, and does so, as Kelly's taken the mark. Kelly on right centre wing. Little chip shot. Not really effective in the end. Trying to get out was Lewis. Creswell backs him up. Kicks high and long over his head down towards right half forward. Peter Rode backing his judgment, comes steaming forward. Nearly gets ridden into the ground. Mitchell rides the bump from stretch. Ball close to the boundary line. Creswell again, but again the kick not well directed. Lovett gets it away to Matthew Phoebe, one of the twins, and Schwarz this time marks in front at left centre wing, playing a pretty good game. He had a hand pass that resulted in a Melbourne goal at long back. Lovett again. Garry Lyon, he's kicked 3 goals in the first quarter. A grass-cutting pass, and a strong mark is taken by Lovell. Glenn Lovett, rather.
And Darren Bennett giving the umpire a mouthful there, indicating that maybe that tackle was a fraction late.
Well, he got reported for something not dissimilar in the first quarter, didn't he?
So Glenn Lovett, one of Melbourne's best players so far today, kicks at goal but doesn't kick accurately. Might be a behind. No, out of bounds on the full, so no score.
It's amazing how many players don't check the mark before they go back for their kick.
It was something that was mentioned yesterday, players turning their back. And when you turn your back, I think you just lose all context.
And probably a couple of yards as well.
My word. Well, the umpire, it's up to him to try and make sure the player doesn't creep over the mark. But left half forward for Melbourne, boundary throw in. Schwarz high over the top of Tundridge. Chance here for Sullivan. Through comes Lewis. Bashes the ball clear of the pack. Bays. Now Obst. Handball reasonably effective. Steins into an open goal. He won't miss from there. Big Jimmy.
Goal and gets the hit out. Viney runs into trouble. Doesn't come out with a football. Steins again. Little toe poke. White dispossessed pretty quickly. The Swans applying plenty of pressure, but White finally does get a boot to ball. Backing his judgment, Darren Bennett tries to slap it down for Glenn Lovett. Couldn't do so. Sydney has the numbers. And Brunton kicks out of the fence well. And a good mark taken by Kapler. Kapler at left half-back flank, right on the boundary line. Goes around the wing. Excellent grab, paid by the umpire to Strooper. Yes, he's paid. Bays takes the hand pass. And that was good vision too, because Luck marks right on 50, too far out to score. He knows it. Centering, kick, will it come off? No, yes, no. Almost taken there by Gray. Lovett nearly was dispossessed. And the Demons are going to run the ball safely out of defence through Keogh. Oh, Schwarz, good grab, son.
He's going to be a player, this one.
Yeah, my word.
Doesn't look unlike Carl Didrich in some of his movements, does he? Kicks to half forward, marking contest. Bennett too tall.
He's having an influence now, Darren Bennett, isn't he, with his height and marking ability?
Yes, well, he's probably 2 or 3 inches taller than Dunkley. And the City Swans a little bit light on for tall players in their back line. Haven't really got a lot of options.
And it's the Lyon and Bennett show at the moment. Bennett in the second quarter, Lyon in the first, and that's Bennett's fourth. The Demons have gone to 11-2 to 6-3, and that's the biggest lead we've had in the match so far.
Darren Bennett kicked 11 goals with the reserves last week, Peter.
Well, he's in pretty good form there, Robbo. Good to see him back in some sort of touch, because he's out of favour for a while. Minton Connell at the other end of the ground, trying to get possession. Road, gee, was just about taken around the neck. Won't matter, he's come out with the football. And Melbourne are going to come away with the football. Sean White kicks from half-back.
Up towards the wing, and a good mark taken there for the Swans by Brunton. Handballs away to Bays. They like to use him, obviously his kicking ability. Kelly's kick into that left forward pocket. Chance here for Kapler. Recovery not bad, but the numbers there, Melbourne have got 4 around the action there. Sean White makes 5. A little left foot kick out into the path of Steins, but Stevie Wright, determination written all over his face. Strooper back to Kelly. Kelly does well. Then kicks it into the pocket, bouncing awkwardly, and it's helped over for a rush behind by Brett Lovett. So the Swans progress to 6-4. They trail Melbourne, who are 11-2.
This is we see on the screen there, Dion Scott about to come back onto the ground, and Kelly should have done a lot more with that kick. That ball should have been placed out towards the top of the square. Been a very good player for the Swans today, but on that occasion choosing the wrong option.
Under 5 minutes left as Road kicks it back in, straight up the ground. Melbourne again, the crumbs. Sullivan just gets his foot to the ball. Obst doesn't get many touches, but usually pretty creative. Completely missed Stevie Wright, who got the hand pass back to Bays. Bays is kicked wide to a vacant wing area. Now the bounce A little awkward for Luff. Set it up for Sean White to bash it over the boundary line. So we'll have a throw in on centre wing, right on the players' interchange area.
And Dion Scott is going down to pick up Bennett, as we said before. Dunkley lacking a little bit in height.
Ruck contest. Free kick is going to the Swans to be taken by Luff. He goes away to Cresswell. Cresswell's kicking towards centre half forward. Not bad either. Well done, Simon Minton-Connell. Don't get many chances, but by gee, you really give them something to kick to, and he has a chance to kick his third.
That was a perfectly placed kick then by Cresswell, wasn't it?
Yes, I'm sure that Minton-Connell had a smile on his face as it was coming in. Drop punt kick by Minton-Connell has just drifted across, I think, for a behind. It has. 2 goals, 2 to Simon Minton-Connell. He kicked so very, very well with his previous 2 attempts. And that one, probably the easier one of the 3.
Yes, he should have nailed that one from that distance.
Kick in has been marked by Robbins in the right back pocket for Melbourne.
Robbins goes around the boundary line, and Lovell, that was out. Boundary umpire missed it, but it's going to get a second. You've got to get a second chance.
Have another go.
Wonder whether the second one was out.
The first one certainly was. Throw in 65 metres from Sydney's goal. Steins in front, right. Kickers by Gray. Strooper comes out to back his judgment. Awkward bouncing ball beats Yates over the boundary line, and it'll be thrown in inside 50 now, with under 3 minutes in the half remaining. Melbourne with a handy lead, 11-2 to 6-5, 41 plays 68.
Melbourne have made a change. Robbins is off, and Cowell, their recruit from Claremont, is on the ground.
He's wearing number 7. I've seen him before. See more of the boundary umpire here as Gray knocks it away from Glenn Lovett.
And I'm sure Brian Wilson would love it if we mentioned that number 7 in the Melbourne Guernsey was made famous by himself.
Sure he will, Robbo.
What we might see here is the players tiring a little bit. The conditions will be very hot out there.
Jimmy Steins has got the free kick. Had a nasty knock from Luff in the first quarter, but seemed to have recovered okay. Got a mark to Murphy. Yes, he's paid it.
Yes.
David Murphy, who has had a favour a little while back in the season. Bays. Good mark.
Should have been forced wide though, aren't they?
Yes, not going down the corridor. Bays again. Certainly using him where they can. Minton-Connell on a lead. Good mark.
I tell you what, Mark Bays, he's used like Mark Browning used to be. You know, the long, loping left foot kick.
Yes, he hasn't got
penetration.
Hasn't got a lot of support though, has he?
No.
And you know, they need to be throwing him around. Mark Bays in a good side would be an even better player.
Well, we've seen him perform to advantage for Victoria, haven't we? In State of Origin. Played full back, half back. Minton-Connell from about half forward. Has he hooked that one, or has he got it? I think he's got that one.
Minton-Connell just looks a little fitter. As the season has progressed, he's obviously got a heck of a lot more work into his system, and
well, he had that knee injury, Robbo, didn't he?
He missed a lot of games with his knee, yes.
And he's quite a focal point for the Swans. He's kicked 3 goals. Darren Bennett has kicked 4 for Melbourne. Garry Lyon has kicked 3 for the Demons. And with under a minute left, well, you'd have to really get a decisive break from this centre bounce. And it was Tunbridge bumping Steins, and gee, that's part of the ruck genius, isn't it, Tim, to get rid of your opponent like that? Kick by Steins has been marked by Jakovich.
And Lewis has done a pretty good job on Jakovich.
Yeah, my word, he's kept him out of it. Jakovich, the only goal he's kicked was a handball over the top by Chris Sullivan early in the first quarter. He's just got to make sure that he concentrates a heck of a lot more on helping his teammates with the smaller things. This kick for goal is good for distance, but just across the face and through for one behind. 1 goal, 1 to Alan Jakovich. The Demons have kicked very accurately. They had something like 8 goals on the scoreboard straight before they rushed their first behind. Dale Lewis kicks into the half-back area where the mark is taken by Kelly. The siren will sound before Brunton can gather this ball, and it is half-time here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. And at half-time, Melbourne lead 11-3-69. The Swans 7-5-47.
Well, Sydney trailed by 16 points at the first change and 22 at half-time. Melbourne's lead was more than that during that quarter. Garry Lyon getting 3 in the first quarter, none in that quarter, but Schwarz on screen has played a particularly good game. Some strong marking, some vigorous contesting of the boundary throw-ins and so on. And he's been an invaluable player for the Demons. So at half-time, Melbourne enjoying a nice lead, but certainly not one that can't be pegged back. 11-3-69 to Sydney 7-5-47 at the SCG. He got those 3 in the first term, and for the Sydney Swans, Simon Minton-Connell has 3 goals.
Today's game is part of the Carlton and United Breweries 1992 AFL Premiership season.
Ian Robertson and Tim Watson, can you suggest Sydney getting back into it, trailing by nearly 4 at half-time?
Well, there's really not much in the game. I think that the Sydney Swans, they came out at the start of that second quarter and they really did take the game up to Melbourne. They lapsed a bit in the last 5 or 10 minutes, and as we discussed during the game, it's pretty hot out here, and we might see that during the game, towards the end of the quarters, that the game does fade away a little bit as we see the ball knocked away there and then picked up by Stretch. It was a wonderful tackle then by Luff, wasn't it?
My word, what you said is very true, Tim. There really never is much in a game here at the Sydney Cricket Ground unless you can suppress the Swans early and kick a bag of goals to their maybe 1 or 2 in the first quarter. They're always a chance. They seem to be able to lie dormant for, say, minutes in a quarter, and then all of a sudden they kick 3 or 4. So even if you're 6 in front,
yes,
it really is nothing.
Well, the ground is so small. One knock out the centre, you clear the ball, it goes to somebody, and they've got an opportunity to score. And that's been one of the telling factors of the game, has been the fact that the Melbourne side have cleared the ball on more occasions out of the centre, and they've been going into attack so much quicker than the Sydney Swans.
Yeah, they set it up like Melbourne. I think I mentioned during the second term that they'd kicked 8 goals straight, and I think that's been the key. They've been able, you mentioned also, that they're forcing the Swans to go into the pockets.
Yes, they're going wider.
Their goal kicking is becoming difficult, whereas Melbourne have been able to get it into that area in front of the goals.
That's right, and they've got a better opportunity to kick. As we look at the stats there, 13 clearances at the centre to 6. And also, if you look at the handballs there, Sydney Swans have had 62 to 38, but a lot of those have just been indiscriminate. As we just talked about then, they've been pushing each other wider and wider. They've been keeping control and possession of the ball, but they really haven't been effective in the way they've used the ball.
So the Demons pace setters on the field, leading by 22 points, but as Matthew Brooks found out during the week, off the field, they're also setting the pace as well in computers.
For years now, computers have played an integral role in the assessment of an athlete's performance, a fact not lost on statisticians at the Melbourne Football Club. They have pioneered the use of computers during the reign of Premiership coach Ron Barassi. Now, thanks to a Melbourne-based software company, the process has been streamlined. Information relating to a player's performance can be entered into a computer via a sophisticated scratch pad developed in Australia.
Overseas, using computers at the game is commonplace. In Australia, it's fairly well underdeveloped, and I saw a need for it, and we used it originally for basketball with the Melbourne Tigers, and we've developed the package into other sporting areas as well.
Frank Rapone, head statistician at Melbourne, is understandably impressed with the system.
Every player would like to have as much information as he possibly can gather from any source regarding his performance on the field. I think the computers are able to produce reports which are a lot more in depth, enabling him to concentrate on his deficiencies and make-ups and to cover any problems that he may be having in his normal play.
Due to the compact size of the equipment, it is totally portable and can be set up at any ground, enabling coaches to get a fast, accurate hard copy profile of their team in action.
We sit in the coach's box, record the time where something might be stand out and a specific incident or item, or whether we're trying to improve in that area and something highlights there, that I can go straight to the time, go straight to the video and just edit all that out for the players. So in that area it's very advantageous.
After the match, statistics including kicks, goals, tap-ons, virtually any information required can be printed on individual players. This data can then be used in tandem with a video machine, enabling players to get a better perspective of their performance.
Oh, there's your stats, mate.
Thanks, man.
Well, you can see they're very interesting. They kicked 14 goals, 5 again.
Melbourne star full forward Alan Jakovich believes the system is head and shoulders above the rest.
They let you know, like I said, when you get the ball at what given time, and how many times you got the ball in that quarter and for how long you had the ball in your hands. And that of course helps, especially with your training, because let's face it, you might only get the ball, well, I know in my situation, maybe 3 or 4 times a game. So, and it's at what given position of the ground that it's very, very important to analyse as well.
So when you're watching our great game, spare a thought for the tireless efforts of the statisticians.
Two other big games of football being played in 2 other states today at Football Park, and of course at the MCG between Collingwood and Melbourne. We'll be having some highlights between Collingwood and North Melbourne, I should say. We'll be having some highlights of that game after this.
Brownlow medalist Bernie Quinlan.
Forward zone, it's tapped across towards Quinlan and McMahon. Quinlan seems to have recovered from that knock that he got earlier. Has a shot at the goals from the boundary line. Look at that!
He's got the run now. He goes for hand pass over the top. This could be nearly a goal. Watch this kick. It's a magnificent kick, a goal. Straight through his legs. McMahon chips one back. Quinlan over the top. There's no one at home again. Can Quinlan try? A great goal to Quinlan. Oh, gee, he worked hard for that.
Let's hope he's not hurt.
At the centre bounce.
Well, at 6'7", I suppose he's not, hasn't got a bad, you know. Oh, look at that for a shot for goal. Oh, beautiful by Quinlan.
Centre wing Basasta went in after a chance now for Quinlan. Breaks away, has a bounce. He'll kick this long note out to the goal square. The torpedo punt. It's a mammoth kick. What a kick that was. Whoa! Great kick there.
Goes Conlon, he's caught. Look for the free kick. Play on is the call. Quinlan dummies. Shrugs a tackle. Kicks towards goal. He made no mistake. Oh, a magnificent goal.
62 metres out from goal. Might kick from that distance. That he does. Torpedo punt kick.
It's through. It's a goal. Good goal. Rendell down the throat of Wilson like lightning. Gives it to Gotch. Now, where's Quinlan? Out on the lead. Here's a charge. You've got this one. It will be a prodigious kick if he does it.
Everybody saying, have a shot, no matter where you are.
It'll be the torpedo, will it? No, I think he might use the drop punt. It's high, it's long, it's there!
It's 100!
100 goals to Bernie Quinlan, and here they come in their thousands.
Harris directs play towards centre-half forward. Quinlan! Bernie Quinlan.
Quinlan. Within kicking distance. He looks more casual in this approach. Booming drop punt. It's a beautiful kick. It's home. Good, hard, solid football. Quinlan plucks it out of the air, tries desperately to get a kick. He does. He's kicked it. The Roys have hit the front. Quinlan has kicked his 8th goal.
It's a big crowd at the MCG today as Collingwood tries to consolidate its place in the final 6. The Magpies. Your local guide to the details of our coverage on 7 Sport. Both teams back out onto the ground for the resumption of play. Before it does begin, however, we have some time up our sleeve to check some of the individual player statistics. And first up for Melbourne, let's look at Glenn Lovett, who's had a particularly busy first half. Tim?
This Glenn Lovett lined up on the wing against Wheeler, and he saw Wheeler off the ground during that second quarter. In fact, Wheeler's still off the ground at half-time. Been a very busy player for Melbourne with 12 kicks and 2 handballs.
And the Swans, gee, they rely heavily on Mark Bayes, particularly his kicking ability. He does run down the ground from centre-half back and collect plenty of hand passes, but he's 17 kicks Well, you'd like a collective meterage of those 17 kicks, and it would be incomparable with any other player on the ground, I'm sure.
Well, Garry, Lyon started the game in fine fashion, had 3 goals in the first quarter. They shifted Holmes onto him, Brunton off, and he's been very quiet, and Holmes has done a wonderful job in the second quarter, keeping him to 2 kicks.
And Paul Kelly playing his 50th game since coming from the Wagga Tigers. 16 possessions for a struggling Sydney team has been a good effort by Paul Kelly.
So all is in readiness for the resumption of play. Bright sunshine and ideal conditions. The third quarter begins at the SCG with Melbourne leading by 22 points. They kicked 4-3 in the second term to Sydney's 3-3 after the difference at the first change was 16 points. Steins gets dispossessed. Darren Cuthbertson on the ground there too.
Well, I just mentioned a moment ago that Holmes have done a great job on Garry Lyon. Well, they've shifted Holmes off him. They've put Dale Lewis onto him now.
They will start it again. Tunbridge this time. Taps it out wide, and there's Cuthbertson, who spent the first half on the bench. In the meantime, umpire has given a free kick behind the play for a trip. Phoebe gives the ball back, and Cuthbertson is going to take it. Started his VFL, AFL career in fine style, up at full forward. Struggled a little bit in recent times, though. Schwarz. Well, good tackle applied by Wright, and he has to get rid of it quickly. Sullivan's hand pass. Ball relayed again back to Schwarz. Very busy player. And that tackle surely is too high on Wright, who comes up with the football. Bays kicks from a standing start back towards the centre wing position. Not too many options open for him there, maybe none. And the ball out of bounds.
It was a very educated kick, that one.
Melbourne interchange bench, Robbins and Keogh. And starting the second half for the Swans are Wheeler and Stevens.
So boundary throw it on centre wing. The 2 number 3s there doing battle. Lyon and Lewis. Luff applies a tackle. Steins on the bottom, and he will be the last man to get up. So a bounce on centre wing, no addition to the half-time score yet.
Jimmy Steins in the picture there. Tunbridge high. Got an effective tap out. Murphy couldn't collect the football. Sean White could. His hand passed maybe a little overzealous, and he's forced to go in and recover his position. He's on the bottom of the pack, and the umpire will call for a bounce.
Jason Mooney is the player that's now gone down onto Jakovich, and it's a pretty tough assignment for a young player in his first season of AFL football.
Chance for the Swans, and the mark is taken here by Gray. The kick coming from Kelly. Gray's kick in towards centre half forward. At the back, the punch was from Glenn Lovett. Cresswell, now Glenn Lovett, gathers the ball close to the boundary line, and the kick falls in short, just in front of Steins, and the mark is taken by Gray. Oh. Very ordinary kick, and that'd be the understatement of the day. Obbs tackle, gatherers by Luff. He's dispossessed. Lyon leaves it for Lovell. Lovell's quick kick goes out towards the wing. Schwarz held when he probably didn't have the football. Bays, now Matthew Phoebe, Obst, handball into the path of Schwarz. Schwartz's short kick is all right. Brett Lovett marks and was only 1 second away from playing on.
1 centimetre, I thought you were going to say. Both would have been correct.
Brett Lovett from 50 metres. Short pass, not too bad either. Jakovich marks in front of Mooney. Now Alan Jakovich will kick from the player on the mark is about 40 metres, maybe a little bit further. Jakovich, well, he's been fairly quiet. He's kicked 1 goal, and that was a hand pass over the top, receiving from Chris Sullivan. But this is a beautiful kick. Right onto the goal line. No, it couldn't quite get the distance. Mitchell, Sullivan, Kelly. Sullivan's tap out. Mooney is there for the Swans. Dale Lewis's hand pass. Mitchell, beautiful spin out of trouble. Barry Mitchell, hand pass into the path of Kelly, and the ball bouncing away from Paul Kelly over for a boundary throw-in. It's about 60 metres around from the Melbourne goal. 11-3 to 7-5. Scores unchanged from half-time. Chance here for Lewis. Taps it into the path of Kelly. It's forced over there by Cuthbertson, and we'll have another boundary throw-in.
He's a terrier, Paul Kelly, isn't he? He's always in there trying to get something happening. His work rate is phenomenal.
So another boundary throw in. The sun a problem at this part of the ground and this time of the day. Lyon applies a tackle. Tunbridge likewise on obst. We have another whistle. And I don't think Tunbridge too happy there. So a bounce will take place. 20.5 minutes left in the term. Scoring difficult so far as both sides come to grips with each other. Lyon looking for a free kick. Well, that was too high on right. So he missed the one on Lyon, saw the one on right. Kelly, oh, shocker. Gee, you give them a rap and they let you down. Tim just spoke of some of the fortes of Kelly. Paul, that time, well, kicking obviously not one of them, Tim.
Yes, luckily I spoke of his work rate, not his kicking.
Cuthbertson kicks the ball inside 50. Marking contest out there. Plenty of Swans at the fall of the ball. Now let's see what he does this time. That's a better kick. And he kicked it straight to Jimmy Steins.
I think that's the crunch. If you can't kick it to one of your teammates, kick it to a vacant space.
Fair enough. Sound logic in that, I think. I don't think that's a mark, and the umpire agrees. A play on call. Now there's a free kick, a high tackle going Melbourne's way, and Cuthbertson will take the free kick.
And that's a poor decision, that.
Cuthbertson kicks to the leading Jakovich, who marks. He led into the pocket, though, so fair angle to kick his second goal.
Yes. Pretty tough for Simon, isn't it?
Well, interestingly, Simon Minton-Connell gets the distance from 50 metres. Now, let's see what Alan Jakovich can do. He's well inside the 50-metre line.
Not a bad sort of an effort. Landed just outside the line. Sullivan. Long sweeping hand pass. Lovell rather. Lovett was right the first time. Lyon. Is that his fourth? He's got it to half forward. 4 goals to Garry Lyon. And a strong mark at the back. He's been taken down there by Brunton. A hand pass away, effective to Wright. Wright's kick. And well picked out too. Creswell. From centre field. The target was Tunbridge. He got edged out. Gray at the back might be able to make amends. Looking for options. Long sweeping hand pass. It's okay because Kelly's picked it up in front of Phoebe. Marking contest on the half-back line. And the ball again out to Glenn Lovett. Brett Lovett now. And now on to Lovell. I knew we'd get them all together sooner or later. And Sullivan, who had a magnificent first quarter. It was a real will-o'-the-wisp. Right. Taps educatedly to the boundary line and/or Mark Bayes, and the ball over the boundary line for throw-in close to centre wing.
Talking about youngsters in the Sydney side, Troy Gray is only 19 years of age, just turned in February from Queanbeyan, playing just his 10th game. So the Swans, they are trying some younger players. Strooper, kick in towards full forward, well done. Minton-Connell, good lead, good pass.
Gee, leads well, doesn't he?
My word. He's kicked 3.
Ooh.
I suppose the key, Tim, for full forward leading is to have the space in which to lead, isn't it?
Well, that's one of the keys. The other is for the players to move the ball quickly down the field.
Minton-Connell.
Lyon for Melbourne, Darren Bennett for Melbourne, and now Simon Minton-Connell for Sydney have all scored 4 goals. 53 to 75, so we're back to 22 points the difference, which is what it was at half-time. And getting taken high was Todd Viney, nothing for it. It was almost a throw over the top, but it's going to be a Melbourne free kick. It's taken by Graham Yates. Yates from the circle, kicks to half-forward, strong mark. Got a whack on the ear, Garry Lyon, didn't stop him. Certainly does make a difference to this Melbourne side. Jakovich asking for the ball to be kicked back into the goal square. Now he leads out to the pocket again. Lyon's ignored both of those requests.
I think he can kick it from there.
He just about will. Umpire telling him to get on with it, actually. Now he goes in short. Intended for Steins. Didn't come off the way intended. Viney overruns the ball. Tunbridge looks for options. Not too many there. Could be dangerous. Brunton close to the boundary line. Has handballed it over. And I've seen worse penalised. Anyway, boundary throw in it will be. Right on 50. Melbourne's right half-forward flank. Tunbridge and Steins. Steins the taller. Taps out. Good tackle applied by Schwarz. This is Lovell onto his left foot. That'll go pretty close. I think he might have got that. He has. It's a goal. So Andy Lovell kicks his first, and Melbourne shoot away again. 13-3. That's magnificent kicking to Sydney 8-5-53.
And that goal was created then by the will-o'-the-wisp Sullivan, who's been a very busy player on the half-forward flank. Very intelligent use of the ball too. Been getting quite a bit of attention from Stevie Wright down there, but that was a great bit of play. Created a crumb, and he's got very good vision, and he's going to be around for a long time, I think, that young fella.
Yes, the son of Tony Sullivan, who played a lot of games for Melbourne on the half-back line in the 60s and early 70s. Kicked by Melbourne up towards half-forward. Sullivan interfering there with... no, it wasn't Stevie Wright, was it, that's receiving the free kick? It is. And he goes in short to Kelly. Mooney goes long, out to the left half-forward area, and a good mark taken there for Melbourne by Peter Rode. He's given Melbourne very good service since crossing from Carlton. Kick towards the wing. No mark taken, but the umpires picked a free kick out of it.
And Rhodes been shifted up to centre-half back onto Strooper, and Stephen Stretch has now been given the job of minding Minton Connell.
Obst, the recipient of the free kick. His kick in towards centre-half forward. No mark taken. Bennett, good gather. Away to Todd Viney. He goes further into the pocket. Glenn Lovett streaming goalwards. Kicks it across the face, just out of the reach of Steins. And it's out of bounds on the full, so the free kick to be taken in the back pocket for the Swans by Gray. There's Garry Buckenara at the back of those interested fans there. And Garry Buckenara with plenty on his mind, I would think. Cuthbertson bashes the ball back towards the 50-metre line. Lovell held. Cuthbertson still trying to get it clear. Brett Lovett does to Yates. He's well tackled. Barry Mitchell just bundling it forward. In there is Viney. Now Gray. Gee, that could have been a free kick against Viney. That's a reportable incident.
Well, history says yes, you're right. Maybe accidental. Maybe. Creswell from midfield for Sydney, and good vision. He's found Luff, who did a couple of nice things in the second quarter, including that tackle on, I think it was Stephen Stretch, wasn't it? Which was a real gem. Minton Connell there making a lead. He's decided to ignore that. Kick number 6 for Troy Luff from Nelson Bay. Been around at the club a couple of years now. Maybe too far out to score, or is he going to make a liar of me? That's a ripper kick. 22 points the difference at the SCG, so can Sydney come back now? They can't go goal for goal with Melbourne. Sullivan racing, leading in the race to the ball. Picks it up well, like his style, good balance. Nice kicking action, kicks up to Andy Lovell. Lovell at left half forward. Melbourne's previous goal, centering kick from him. No one can drag it down. Creswell tries to knock it over the top, picked up by the big fellow, Brad Tunbridge. Out to Bayes, he'll go long, no question of that. Awkward looking kick off the boot, almost marked down there by Strooper. Umpire correctly not paying it. Good tackle applied by Graham Yates to tie it up on the 50-metre line.
And the Swans have to work hard to get to the fall of the ball then. Strooper battling against 4 Melbourne opponents.
12.5 minutes left in the third term. Bounce at centre half forward. Knocked away there by Kelly. Yates, a lovely sidestep onto Garry Lyon. Where's he playing now? Phoebe at left centre wing. And he's got good speed too. Luff trying to peg him back, couldn't do so, and Jakovich is marked inside 50, decides to play on, needs a goal to restore some...
It's 9-5, David Murphy for the Swans. Quick kick to half forward. Brett Lovett just fumbles ever so slightly, but may recover his position. He does. Rode, hand pass just to the offside there to Steins. Steins' short kick, and well done, Glenn Lovett. Marking in front of Kapler. Played pretty well, Glenn Lovett. His kick goes wider still. Steins, who's run from centre half back. Short pass, Schwarz can't quite take the mark, but may have been a free kick in the finish against Mark Bayes. 11 minutes left in the third quarter. Schwarz, he's kick one, kicks it in towards full forward. Jakovich can't quite take the mark. Mitchell, hand pass. Out wide for Kelly, shrugs the tackle. Hand pass away to Holmes. Holmes' kick up towards half forward. Phoebe, the bounce awkward for him. Goes after it again. Very determined. Peter Rode. Handball away to White. White held. Didn't quite have control of the football. Garry Lyon into the action. So is Yates. Good shepherding allows Yates a little bit of time to gather his composure. He runs away from the centre wing area, kicks it towards half forward. The mark is taken by Glenn Lovett.
He came up on our stats at half-time, one of Melbourne's better players, and he's carrying on the good work in the third term. Huge pack of players in the goal square down there. Wright had it and then lost it pretty quickly. And the Swans defending desperately. Mitchell gets it in turn, over to Mooney. A little chip shot. Back in turn to Kelly, back to Mooney. And they run it out well. Good kick. And good vision, because he's found Luff. Luff prepared to concede a few metres. Get it back to Mitchell. Road. Good backup support, as Robbo said, has given good service to Melbourne since he transferred from Carlton. And again, Glenn Lovett, this time marked by Schwarz. Maybe too far out to score. They can have said that with Luff's kick previously. Oh, Bennett, gee, that's a mark. Was it?
Well, I'd like to see that again on replay.
Initially, I thought it was, and then it bounced out.
I don't think he grabbed hold of it and controlled it.
Oh, yes,
yes, you'd have to say that he took that to the ground, Robbo.
Kick for Darren Bennett.
Finished on the turf.
He's kicked 5, Darren Bennett, has he? If he's accurate? No, he hasn't kicked 5.
Be careful, Pete.
You do, don't you?
It was his easiest shot
I know.
Goal from, what, 15 metres out directly in front.
Kicks them from 85 and he misses that one.
It's just concentration. He did that very, very quickly.
I think you're right.
And accordingly missed.
Tunbridge marking in front of Cuthbertson.
It's a charity mark anyway.
All right, let's get on with the game. We'll put the whistles down. Lewis. Very skillful player, Dale Lewis. Lewis from right half back. Kick to centre wing. Not good vision there because Sean White, or a nest of demons, Phoebe, Yates, away they come. He kicks up towards half forward, and that's a good lead made by Sullivan. He had that and then he lost it at the last minute. Still battling on for it. Got support out there from Todd Viney. The Demons looking the goods at the moment. Now Obst, outside 50. He does go long with the kick into the goal square, and a good mark taken by Mooney in front.
Oh, that's excellent work by Mooney. Jakovich trying to get him out of the contest. His pass is excellent too, to Stevie Wright at left half back. Looking to play on now. Perhaps took just a fraction too long. Getting his hands on the football out there was Dunkley. Now here's Cresswell. Cresswell's kick in towards centre half forward. No mark taken. The ball at the back. It favours Steins. Hand pass away to Brett Lovett. In turn, a 25-metre hand pass to Lyon. He got rid of his opponent, but Brett Lovett is there. Lyon again, caught. Handball away. Brett Lovett in trouble. That should be a free kick, surely. No. It was Gray. Stretch. Away to Road. Road's little kick is good. And Lovell will run it away for the Demons. His long kick in towards centre half forward. Schwarz can't quite take the mark, but he gathers the football away to Cowell. In turn to Sullivan. It may bounce through for a goal, is it? No, it's been touched.
I think he had one like that before, Robbo, that bounced through.
Yes. Chris Sullivan, 1 goal, 1.
Stephen Stretch, you see there, copping one from Minton Connell about the neck. And he's been in the hands of the trainers for a couple of minutes, but he appears to be all right.
Tunbridge chips it in short. Murphy. Kelly. 7 minutes left in the third term. Beautiful kick. Maybe not to the advantage of the club. Distance-wise it was. Yates. Steins. Again, just about everywhere. Steins. Garry Lyon. You can't keep him down for too long. Wheeler's back on the ground doing battle with Viney. Wheeler might win this contest. He does. Lost the ball. Grabbed. Taken to the ground. Surely a free kick.
Yep.
A Yannick Noah hairstyle. Tunbridge in the circle. Kelly, who doesn't stop. Spears the pass in, looking for Minton Connell. Didn't find him that time. Steins and also Matthew Phoebe see the ball over the line. In fact, it's gone through for a behind to Sydney.
And Robbo, you were saying at half-time that Wheeler looks a little bit like Bob Marley.
You were, Tim, actually. I would know who Bob Marley was, Tim.
I went for Yannick now.
Steins. Short kick in towards half-back, and the mark is taken by Glenn Lovett. Under 6 minutes left. Again, a short kick, and Lovell marks. Melbourne trying to get it moving. Not quite successful here, but Yates is quick to assess the situation, gather it, hand pass away to Steins. Steins' kick up towards half forward. Schwarz can't quite take the mark. Gee, he's good though. He was in the action again. Away to Cowell. Cowell's kick towards full forward. No, excellent effort again. In front, maybe the advantage will be paid to the Swans. No, it'll go back, and it's Dunkley who was awarded the mark. Away there to his fellow defender in Holmes, but Luff drops a sitter. He's able to gather the football and kick it towards half forward. The mark is taken by Strooper. Strooper in towards centre half forward. Nice looking kick. Yates again to mop up. Had a reasonable season, Graham Yates, after missing a couple of games just a few weeks ago through suspension. Kick in towards half forward. Schwarz nearly went for the hand pass, but then gave a short pass out wide to the advantage of Sullivan. Sullivan from 35, 25, difficult angle. Oh, he does it pretty well, Chris Sullivan.
Chris Sullivan getting his second goal, 35 points the difference now, so that's the biggest margin that either side has enjoyed. Melbourne leading for most of the day here. Wheeler, Lovett, gets pinned. No, he's getting the free kick for in the back.
Swans have made another move. They've put Dunkley back down onto Jakovich, and Mooney has now gone on to Bennett.
Brett Lovett, Lewis in front of Steins. Quick hand pass.
Dropping the ball. Oh, it's dropping the ball.
Holding the man, it is. So Barry Mitchell acting captain for Sydney today. In the absence of Dennis Carroll to take the kick, gets it down to Strooper. And maybe just Sydney can do something now. Creswell, good kick. Yeah. Big fellow saying get back, and he boots it Tunbridge, that is, to Minton Connell, who this time doesn't take the mark. Stretch. He's recovered from that knock he got about 5 minutes ago. Seems to be okay. Marking contest on centre wing. The ball hits the deck. Lovell goes down. Might have almost been free for a trip. Obst spears the pass into Lyon.
Oh, Peter, there was some agility there by Andrew Obst, wasn't it?
That was a fantastic pickup, wasn't it?
Oh, and Gary Lyon made the pass even better than it was too, didn't he?
On the lead, Alan Jakovich. Steins has ignored him. He's gone for a towering kick into the goal square. Schwarz tried to drag it down. Good support from Sullivan. And a snapshot, has he got his third? No, he's put it through for one behind.
The game's stopped to a bit of a walk now. Players getting very tired. The conditions out there are pretty harsh for the Melbourne players. They're not used to this sort of temperature for this time of year, and they really do appear to struggle that last 5 minutes of each quarter.
September weather, isn't it, in Melbourne? August weather in Sydney. Mark taken by Neil Brunton.
His kick goes in near the centre. Yates just making it a little awkward. White leaves it for Obst. Ball hemmed in nicely by the Swans. Luff goes after it. Brett Lovett fell a little high. I don't know whether it really was. I think he grabbed the guy by the jumper. The jumper slips up over the neck, and all of a sudden he determines that it's round the neck.
Well, he ducked at the same time.
Yeah. Hey. So very fortunate, Brett Lovett there.
Although Melbourne did move that ball on down the field after that incident, so slowing the play down a bit.
Well, Sean White threw the ball back to Brett Lovett. He should be playing gridiron. Brett Lovett's kick to half forward. Mark taken by Schwarz. Schwarz now. Short kick into the forward pocket area. Jakovich at the back, but making the ball his object there was Dunkley, and he forces it over for a boundary throw-in. It's in the left forward pocket for Melbourne, about 35 metres around from their goal. 2 minutes left in the quarter, so a chance for the Demons to score. Up goes Bays, can't control the football. Comes out towards the 50-metre line. Cuthbertson. High kick by Darren Cuthbertson. Doesn't cover all that much ground. Centre half forward. Oh, underneath all of that, looks like Darren Holmes. And the umpire will call for a bounce about 30 metres from the Melbourne goal.
Holmes, who did a very good job on line in the second quarter, is now playing on Glenn Lovett on the wing.
They really are undermanned, the Swans. They try very, very hard, but get lots and lots of possessions. Just don't finish up with the score on the board. Rod Keogh. Now Lovell. Lovell from just inside 50.
Good kick, Andy Lovell's a goal.
Term 42 points the difference. Creswell looks for Wheeler, finds him. Wheeler at the edge of the square. And has he got the mark down there, David Strooper? Yes, he's been pated. Swans badly needing a couple of goals to even stay in touch now. Quite a few players on this side out through injury. Strooper maybe a little bit too far out, although Loft got a goal from there with a magnificent kick. This one I don't think will be just there. Oh, gee, did it go through? It did, but touched on the line. So maybe if there's any breeze, it does favour that end, but it's very slight. So a point to Sydney, and they badly need goals. Stretch does the kicking in. I think he might have to do it again because the goal umpire hadn't finished waving the flags. So he does do it again. Same direction, just kicks a little bit further.
So that's loose, Mac. Yep.
Steins takes the easiest of marks. Kicks up the centre wing. Lovett, Brett Lovett. Both Lovetts have had good quarters. Kicks just off the edge of the square, and Mark Bayes chips in to take a very safe mark. Gets it away to Lewis, but there won't be any further scores in the third quarter. And at three-quarter time, Melbourne with a very handy lead. 16 goals, 6, 102, leading Sydney 9-7, 61. Bennett 4, Lyon 4, 2 to Sullivan and Jakovich, and also Andy Lovell for the Demons. And for the Sydney Swans, Simon Minton-Connell has 4 goals and Troy Luff has 2. Let's take a look at some of the third quarter highlights from the big one at the MCG this afternoon between Collingwood and North Melbourne. Now a big crowd at the G, and this is Brad Hardy. He gets it over to McGuan, who's figured in many of our highlights today, and that kick came from Fraser, putting it through for 4 points. North badly needing a couple of goals. McCarthy taps it on beautifully over to German, and that is a goal to North Melbourne, a much needed one. And Mick McGuan, there he is again, he's everywhere. With that unmistakable running style, kicks up the half forward, and Christian takes a very strong grab. 40 metres out, directly in front. Christian goals for the Magpies as we check the scores at three-quarter time. North Melbourne 7-6-48 and Collingwood 11-12-78 at the final change. Gary Buckenara addressing the Sydney Swans. Some network stations, of course, taking a live coverage of the Adelaide St Kilda game at 5:30 Eastern today. Let's go over to Ross Glendinning at Football Park. And Roscoe, is it once again going to be the Adelaide Crows versus Tony Lockett?
Well, it could very well turn out that way, Pete, but conditions here aren't too bad. The ground's in good nick, considering the rain we've had during the week, but a very strong breeze blowing, which is going to cause some problems, blowing left to right, so the game's going to be perhaps played almost at one end of the ground. The Bureau suggested there might be some rain coming later on, but they suggested around about 8 to 9 o'clock, so hopefully it won't come when the game's in progress. So it could be the Tony Lockett show. 32 goals in the 3 games against the Crows in the past, so a big job ahead for the players there to cut that player down.
Ross, do you give Adelaide any chance of causing a bit of a hiccup in St Kilda's plans for the finals?
Well, 3 games on the trot they've won, Robbo, and I think they've really given themselves a chance today, but St Kilda's such an important game for them. I can't see them dropping it, although it should be a great contest.
Well, pretty windy there, Roscoe. What would you estimate the win to be? A 4-goal win?
Oh, look, it's more than that, actually, Pete. The game's in progress at the moment. It's a low scoring because it's so difficult to control the footy. But if you termed it in terms of goals, it'd be almost 4 or 5 goals. It's that strong, so it could cause some problems, Pete.
OK, we'll get back to you a little bit later on. It should be a good contest. Thanks, Roscoe.
OK.
Ross Glendinning at Football Park in Adelaide for the big one between Adelaide and St Kilda. And as I said, some network stations taking that live, 5:30 Eastern today. Now, John Northey having a few words to say. I think he'd be quite happy, Tim, at three-quarter time.
Yes, I think he would be. The game hasn't reached any great height. I think that the conditions are pretty tough out there for the players. It's quite warm out there. And as we mentioned earlier in the telecast, Yates playing across the half-back line as a spare man really has set up a lot of play from the back line for Melbourne. And Gary Buckenara there on screen. He was having a fair bit to say to his players again at three-quarter time. I don't think that the Swans, they've performed okay. They're quite an experience. When you look at the side, they've got 13 players in their side who've played 50 games or less. So there's quite a bit of an experience there. And I think they'd be quite happy just to turn over a number of players this year in the hope of finding players for the future.
Stats for the third quarter. And while we look at them, Schwarz, he's played a tremendous game, hasn't he? He's.
I think like if you could take the Melbourne Guernsey from David Schwarz and put a Swans Guernsey on his back, I'm sure that that's basically what they lack. Even though Simon Minton-Connell and David Struper are good players, they just aren't big enough and strong enough. You mentioned about bustling people out of the road.
Struper's a flanker, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's being forced to play at centre-half forward for the Swans. And although he does a good job, he works hard, his work rate's great, he provides a target for them coming down the ground. They really do lack that focal point at centre-half forward, which in turn means that they go wide when they go into the forward line.
They kick 5-3 in that term to 2-2, the Demons, and it reflects in those statistics, Peter, I'm sure. 62-44, Melbourne outnumbering in most areas.
The final quarter about to get underway at the SCG. Melbourne leading by 41 points. They've increased their advantage at every change, 16, 22 and 41 as we begin the final quarter. So Sydney needing a couple of goals quickly to get back into it. Mooney's kick over the head of Wheeler. The ball bounces kindly for him though. Lewis looks for options with the hand pass. Mark Bayes going past him. Bayes predictably long. Kicks inside 50. Melbourne having the numbers. And that's how they win out. Graham Yates kicks up towards midfield. In fact, further than that, Wright doesn't get the bounce that he would have wanted. Taps onto Sullivan. But Wright can do the tidying up work. Hasn't got the pace that he once had. He's going to get a free kick for being grabbed when not in possession. Steve Wright at centre half back. Kicks up towards Dion Scott. This is Creswell. Creswell out towards the flank position. There's Luff, who's kicked a couple of goals. Back to Creswell. He's moved downfield to take the hand pass. Minton-Connell should be thereabouts. Tunbridge in front. Who's got that one? Tunbridge is paid. Oh. Well, gee, I thought they both had their hands on that. I'd like to see it in replay, Tim.
Yes, I thought Robe was definitely in front on that occasion.
Certainly in front, but Tunbridge had a better grip of it.
Oh, no, I think the umpire's right when you look at that.
All right.
Tunbridge started the quarter in the forward pocket, and Dion Scott started the quarter in the ruck.
Brad Tunbridge, distance won't be a problem. Pretty fair angle. He's kicked at goal. The goal umpire runs across. That's not a good sign. In fact, the boundary umpire gets into the act. He's kicked it out of bounds on the 4. Well, that's the kick he wouldn't be too happy with. So a free kick to the Demons. And the right back pocket to be taken by Stephen Stretch. And Simon Minton-Connell stands the mark.
Could nearly earn himself the nickname of Spalding, couldn't he, Brad Tunbridge, after that shot for goal? Kick goes out towards half back. Mitchell breaks through. Lovely little hand pass into the path of Struper. Struper's quick kick is offline, unfortunately for the Swans, and through for just one behind. David Struper, 1 goal, 2. Gary Stevens on the interchange bench with Darren Kapler. And to my knowledge, Tim, Stevens yet to have a run on the ground.
Yes, he was on for a brief moment there in the second quarter.
Amazing when you're trailing by 7 goals. You'd think you'd toss it around a little bit and maybe at least try him a bit more.
Yes, well, he has tossed his side around a lot. There's been a lot of positional changes, but it is a bit mystifying whilst, besides performing fairly ordinarily, why you'd leave one player on the interchange bench for such a long time.
Jakovich has marked the ball about 50 metres from goal. And just having another look at that, it was a fairly straightforward chest mark taken by Alan Jakovich. He's kicked 2 goals, and he's now kicked 3.
Words, because he was involved in a bit of a dust-up with Stevie Wright after that goal was kicked. No damage really done. Schwarz out to Brett Lovett. Ball at half-back. Mooney, Brunton rather.
There's a number of Sydney Swans players that look alike, aren't there?
Robbins and Cowell on the interchange bench for Melbourne.
Haven't seen Cowell, have we? Has he had a run,
He had a run in the 3rd term, Peter.
Lyon.
Don't you remember us mentioning the magnificent number on his back?
That's right, Wilson. Yes, thank you very much.
I'm sure he'll be watching this telecast, Brian
Wilson. He's been as long on the ground as Troy Gray has anyway. We both agree on that, I think. Knocked away by Schwarz again. Viney trying to pick it up. We're coming into a few of them hunting in packs at the moment. because Melbourne certainly have the score on the board. Sydney, pretty hard job for them to try to pick it back. Boundary throw in with just over 21 minutes left in the match. Steins and Scott. Steins from the back, does it well. Probably have another ball up. Kelly, tackled by Wheeler. Goes down with Viney. Schwarz piles it on top of him. And we'll do it all again.
And Todd Viney's a guy we haven't mentioned so far, but he's done a pretty good job on Barry Mitchell, restricting him. And he also works very hard in the tight clenches.
Schwarz up high, knocked down to Wheeler, tackled by Obst, kicked off the ground. Viney again, Wheeler once more, can't take a clean possession. Can't get it out of that part of the ground. You play a free kick soon, yeah, I thought he might.
Maybe against Keogh, just jumping in at the last minute.
Wheeler to Bays. Well, that's a beautiful kick from Bays. He's kicked that 65 metres down towards left half forward. Again, Melbourne have the numbers. Yates scoops it out. Knocked on further, taken away by Brett Lovett. He kicks up towards the centre half forward position. Marking contest down there. Wright ducks back pretty quickly and well to take the kick.
And not a bad kick by Stevie Wright into the path of Luff. Quick hand pass to Strooper. You've got another one on. No, he bangs away. Long kick. Probably the hand pass may have been the right option. Ball bang back towards centre half forward. Lewis makes no mistake for the Swans. Having a spell on the interchange bench. A lot of the things that he's done have been quite good, but he really doesn't get enough of the footy. Chance here for Robbins. His long kick in towards full forward. Bennett could be nearly paid. He is going to be paid. So Darren Bennett, who missed a fairly straightforward shot at goal in the third quarter from only about 20 metres out. Jumping, second grab. Did you pay that, Tim?
Yes, I would have paid that, Robbo.
For Darren Bennett from 35 metres out. Not all that difficult an angle, and he just spits the mouth guard into his hand in disgust. And he's kicked another behind. 4 goals, 2 to Darren Bennett. Melbourne 17-7. The Swans are 10-8. And Mooney will kick it back into play for the Swans. 18 3/4 minutes left. Mooney comes to the near side. Kick is okay. He finds Dunkley. Stevie Wright. Ball close to the boundary line. Steins, geez, very talented for a man so tall. And there's an excellent mark taken back there for Melbourne by Bennett.
He's never really gone on with it, Darren Bennett, has he? I remember the first time I saw him play was for the West Coast Eagles against Essendon. The first time they came into the competition as Murphy goes for a break to the interchange bench.
And Stevens.
Sorry?
Stevens on.
And Stevens is...
Hey, we keep talking about him, he got a run. Bennett from just inside 50.
Goal. He scored 5 goals, 2 today. And Melbourne's leading goal kicker, 18-7 to 10-8. So it's one-way traffic here. Lovell, that was just about a throw. Umpire says no, it wasn't. Sean White takes advantage of that. They look for Bennett again. Ball kicked off the ground, and I think they came off the Swans player's boot. It's one behind anyway. David Murphy having a break on the bench. 18-8 now, so the difference is at even 8 goals. Kick in comes from Mooney. Scott up towards centre wing. White dives on it, taps it out wide. White again. 20-metre hand pass this time. Scott taps down. Lovell. White once more, ridden into the ground. It was from Brunton. And there's Brunton again. Schwarz is in there, so too is Troy Gray.
Peter, the umpire could have avoided this ball up by giving a free kick to 13. Was it Neil Brunton?
That first tackle should have been rewarded. Sean Wright did try to get around him. He was given plenty of opportunity to get rid of the ball. That was a perfect tackle then.
A bounce on centre wing. Oh. Well, that was high from Scott too, I think, or holding the ball he's paid. He's going Sydney's way to Scott. And Keogh's not going to pick it up.
He has a real go, Keogh, but he's got to concentrate on getting rid of the ball a lot quicker than what he does.
Dion Scott, kick number 4. Had a stint on the bench early when some repair work was done. Marking contest up there. Ball hits the deck again. Luff sees it over the boundary line in front of Brett Lovett. And it will be a throw in 70 metres from goal.
Actually, if you're giving an instruction to a young player, what sort of instructions do you give the guy when he watches the video, like Rod Keogh?
Well, I think he's just got to concentrate on giving out the first option. He tries to beat one bloke, two blokes, and he gets himself into all sorts of trouble.
So another stalemate develops on the edge of the square. He's going to be a ball up.
He's a good ball winner, which you need, but he's got to get that first handball option.
He played his first game in 1990, so it's his third season. Experience, maybe.
Ball kicked out of the pack past Phoebe. Luff leading him. Knock on by Phoebe. He's got it back to Stretch, who's usually pretty quick, and he is. Cuthbertson gives it back to him. Stretch measures the hand pass. Back to Matthew Phoebe. We're used to seeing Stephen Phoebe in the Melbourne lineup. This is Matthew, of course, back to Stretch. They're waxing it. And they might come unstuck here, but Yates does the necessary tidying up work. Not the greatest of kicks because it's gone straight out of bounds. I think he was trying to find Robbins, but it wasn't well directed, and it will be a throw-in on the outer side.
And football doesn't get much uglier than that.
Bull dust is about the way to describe that, wasn't it? It really was. They had about 8 possessions and went 15 metres towards their goal. And I don't think John Northey would be too happy. They lead by a big margin, but they've got a chance to bury the Swans. Here's Brunton for the Sydney side, kicking it into the pocket, and the mark is taken by Strooper.
Tried hard, Robbo.
Yes, my word. I think he's done very well, Strooper. Number 15 for the Swans. He's kicked 1 goal. His kick has been marked by Gray, in turn to Mitchell.
We won't get the distance from there.
You know, you just get the feeling that Barry Mitchell, I mean, he's been a terrific player, but a small guy that gets knocks all the times when he's playing. Very, very difficult to... Oh, it's a good kick, though. Nearly at the back, Gray. The ball hurried over for a rush behind. I'm just saying the small players, when they get knocked around a lot, they suffer from injuries, and it's very difficult as you get older to toss them off, isn't it?
To keep going. But Viney's done a wonderful job. Mitchell's averaging 31 possessions a game, and into this last quarter he's only had 14.
Schwarz up in front. Lovell hacks the ball with the left foot. He's kicked 2 goals, one with the left and one with the right. There's a free kick. It's going Melbourne's way this time. To Garry Lyon.
The advantage there. There were 2 to 1.
Yeah, Cuthbertson was ready to go, wasn't he?
Yeah, my word.
Under 14 minutes left in this contest. Garry Lyon's got 4 goals. 3 came in the first quarter. Oh, that was a little bit lazy. You'll get another chance at it, Garry Lyon.
Oh, well done.
On to Viney. And away they go once more. Lovell. And plenty of Swans down there. Creswell. Right.
Oh.
Brushes 1 tackle. Gets it out to Gray. On to Strooper. He's moved down well to take that hand pass. Luff hasn't got the pace. The ball too near the boundary line. Crosses it. Throw in right on 50.
Very impressed today with some of the youngsters for the Sydney Swans. Mooney, Creswell. Creswell's only playing his 5th game. He's already averaging 20 possessions, and he's a real find.
He's a trier, isn't he? White gets front position. Lewis over the top. Yates right on 50. Kicked back towards midfield. And Cuthbertson, who spent most of the first half, might have been all the first half on the bench, kicks down to half forward. Bays again. Tidies up across half-back. Short kick this time to Wheeler, who's also had a stint on the bench today. Wheeler, awkward-looking kick. I don't know who he's looking for out there. Scott, maybe for Sydney will get there first. No, he won't. Hand pass came out in the direction of Lovell, it was. Back to Darren Bennett, and Bennett marked within kicking distance again. He's kicked 5 goals, 2 today, Darren Bennett, and this seems to be his favourite distance, doesn't it?
Big difference there in the use of the football.
Oh, that was terrible play then, wasn't it, from Wheeler, who's just a young, inexperienced player. But if you're going to kick back into the centre like that, you've just got to make sure that you hit your target.
5 goals to Bennett. He'll get the distance again. He's just about kicked that into the Randwick racecourse.
I was going to say the same thing. Thought there was a ball till he burst then.
1 behind. Only registered by Darren. 18-9 to 10-9. 48 points the difference.
5 goals, 3 to the big full forward. Got a reasonable setup, the Demons, with Steins in the ruck and Schwarz sort of running around the field. Big, strong fellow, and
yes, well,
Bennett complimenting Jakovich.
Well, we looked at their side before the game and those that were missing, and really Michael Pickering might be the only player that is out injured at the moment that might come into this side. So they really have got their their best side for the whole year. They've struggled with injuries this year, but at the moment they really have got their best side on the field.
Bit of a fight on the 50-metre line. And still going too. In the meantime, Bays continues. And the umpire's found a free kick. The emergency umpires come out to sort that little blue out.
Advantage paid.
Not too much in it. As bad as we had yesterday. Trying to get clear as Stevens. Got one high. And it'll be a ball up. So temper's becoming a little bit frayed. Now the umpire, or the emergency umpire, just about to leave the field. I don't think any numbers were taken.
No, Schwarz is just about to come off. He appears to be injured. The physio having a look at him now, and he's going to be replaced.
Good tackle
by
by Lovell on Luff after the hand pass came from Steins. And so the number 7 comes back on. Played well, Schwarz, one of the best on the ground. Steins taps down, picked up by Keogh. Looks for the hand pass, bounces kindly for Robbins. Robbins goes in short, spears the pass to Jakovich. Couldn't quite take it. Dunkley, good opposition from him. And he can turn on a threepenny bit, this fella. Holmes, or gee, could have almost given away the free kick there. The umpire says no, play on. Bays will, looks for a hand pass, got one in, wasn't a good one. Holmes goes down, gets ridden into the turf. Wheeler tries to break there. Pretty untidy stuff this, I can tell you. But Sydney defending desperately. They want a couple of goals to try to make their score respectable. Scott from right, and away they go now.
Should get one from this.
Taken by Brunton at midfield. Could have run even a little bit further. For Minton Connell or Tunbridge. Tunbridge couldn't take the mark this time, and Road clears.
Is that a push? You're showing a bit of disgust, Tim. Was that a push?
Oh no, he chose the wrong option. Minton Connell led up the ground. He should have kicked the ball to him. He's tried to kick it to Tunbridge.
Well, it's back with Melbourne in their left forward pocket. Glenn Lovett's shot for goal. Just on the goal line, helped over by Darren Bennett. So, amazingly, all of a sudden, Brunton going through the centre. The Swans look a chance, but no, the turnover happens and it goes straight down the other end of the ground and a score to Melbourne, but just a behind. Kick in, and straightforward mark to Cowell. Lovell and Cresswell having a bit of a dust-up. Short pass, Garry Lyon. Garry Lyon for goal number 5. No. For behind number 1. For the Melbourne captain. 18-11 plays 10-9. 9 3/4 minutes left. Mooney to kick it back into play.
That's a bit like Gary Pert, doesn't it?
Yes, not unlike. Nice kick too. Covers well and truly 50 metres. Lovell looks for Steins. Attempted kick off the ground. Lewis is underneath that congestion. Mitchell tries to just bustle it clear. Bit of a rugby scrum there. Right on the 50-metre line for Melbourne. And the umpire will be forced to bounce.
They say when you get tired, Robbo, skill levels go down, and I think they have in this last quarter.
Yeah, well, I think it's also, Tim, the ground conditions. They're quite firm, aren't they?
Yes, the players will be very tired at the end of this game. There'll be a lot of players with blisters playing on this hard surface.
Glenn Lovett from 50 metres. Pass into the pocket. Jakovich, hand pass away. Keogh, short kick, effective. Mark taken by Sullivan. Well, Chris Sullivan has kicked 2 goals and gave a good hand pass to Jakovich for Alan Jakovich's first goal.
I thought you were going to say for his first handball, Robbo.
Oh, no, he's done pretty well, Chris Sullivan. 16 possessions. Lovely kick. Beautiful kick. Goal number 3.
Getting his 3rd goal, joining Alan Jakovich on 3. Lyon has 4. Bennett has 5 for Melbourne. 125, plays 69. 8.5 minutes left. Steins didn't go up. Slammed it down, but straight to Mitchell. And Sean White taking the mark, was just about to go back. Then he decided, well, he can go on. Lost it. Viney. Out to right half forward. And here's Darren Cowell. Centering kick from him. Good intelligent play. Right. Wheeler. Oh, just about got poleaxed there. But comes out with the footy. Wheeler. A one-on-one duel. And it was always going to be Lovett's ball, I think. He had the sit there. Not a good option. This is Viney again. As we said, he's done a great job on Barry Mitchell. All shuffled out the back of the pack. Dunkley. Luff. Knocks the ball down. Keogh was there. Had it. Lost it. Lovett. Back to Viney. Oh, gee, where was that going? Out of bounds.
Oh, well, he's been pretty good, Todd Viney. So.
Oh, yes, we'll give him one.
Yep.
Mitchell marks at left half back. Well, not too many options open for him here. Runs around the man on the mark.
So where he's going to go here.
And finally gets it over to Kelly. Creswell. Long looping hand pass.
Hospital.
And Steins takes advantage of it.
Oh, lovely. Jimmy Steins. Bennett. Oh, unselfishly. Sullivan. And the 4th goal for Chris Sullivan. For Melbourne, it was a fairly tight encounter until half-time, 11-3 to 7-5. Melbourne opening up a little bit in the 3rd term, 16-6 to 9-7 at 3/4 time. Robbins, ooh, down he went. Ball runs free. Lovell had a few touches, Tim.
Yes, he's been a good player.
Matthew Phoebe. Steins just fumbles, but he's able to get around. Can't quite get the effective hand pass in. Scott for the Swans. Hand pass is long. Luff. Now Stevens from 40 metres. Stevens' kick is a behind. So all the sting has gone out of the Swans. 61 points the advantage for the Demons.
And they're battling to keep off the bottom of the ladder too, Robbo.
That's very true. They play the Brisbane Bears next week and Richmond in the last game of the year. So at least they've got the chance. If they can win those games, well, they won't have the wooden spoon, will they? Chance here for Cuthbertson. He left it behind. Brunton. Handball intercepted by Robbins. Good hand pass. Sets it up for Steins. Unselfishly to White. White further unselfishly. Garry Lyon. Goal number 5, is it for Garry Lyon? No, it hits the post. 4 goals, 2 to the skipper. 4 goals to Chris Sullivan. 3 to Jakovich. 2 to Andy Lovell. And 5 to Darren Bennett. As Brett Lovett, it looks like, in the hands of the trainers.
As he's I think he just got winded. Creswell. Underground hand pass. Right. He's been playing in the back pocket on Sullivan. Mooney. Over and turned to Stevens. Stevens kicked down. Yes, Kepler marking a Strooper rather just inside the boundary line.
They're still being forced wide though, aren't they?
Yep. Most of the day. Mitchell marking the centering kick. Again going down the flanks. Tunbridge at the back, couldn't take it, and Yates.
No, it's Lovell. He's played a fantastic game, Andy Lovell.
Especially in the second half, he's really come into his own. He's kept it off with a couple of goals as well. But it's all Melbourne. The Demons full of running. This is Cowell. And Cowell kicks down to Jakovich, who marks inside the boundary line. Just took on the fence there for good measure. The angle pretty acute. The umpire goes down. Kick wasn't the best one he's had today. Ball out in front of the pack. Lovett, Glenn Lovett. It's ridden into the ground by Gray. Ball spills loose in the tackle, comes away from Brunton. Snapshot is there, and through for 1 behind. And that came from Garry Lyon. So Lyon, who started with 4 straight, has now kicked 4 goals, 3.
I feel sorry now for the Sydney Swans defenders. A moment ago when they were bringing the ball down the field, Melbourne, there wasn't any pressure at all. And the poor old Sydney defenders are still after minding their man. And the Melbourne players been given all the time in the world to deliver the ball.
Jason Mooney to kick in again. And kicks it clear of hand and foot, the required 2 metres. Comes around the boundary line. Well, that might be a Melbourne free. No, it's a Swans free kick. A couple of players were hanging on to each other there. Creswell has kicked the ball out of bounds, though. So Lewis, not really much of a chance to get a handle on that one. Goes back to his position with less than 4 minutes to go in this match.
Well, Dale Lewis, we had a look at his statistics just then. He started the game at full back on Alan Jakovich. Swans move it forward. Luff, very well done. Strooper should kick a goal, and he does.
His second.
Yes, as Peter has just said, 2 goals to David Strooper, but their leading goal scorer is Simon Mitton-Connell, who's kicked 4. Troy Luff has kicked 2. But they've been few and far between in the second half. They've only kicked 4 goals, 5 in the second half of the game. And the Melbourne side have kicked something like 9 goals, 10.
Yes, and there's all the sting and pace has gone out of this game as both sides stop running and holes open up all over the place.
Todd Viney coming off for Melbourne and replaced by Andrew Obst.
3.5 minutes left. Ball goes through Robbins. Little kick off the ground. Sean White, who's been quite reliable across half-back. Bit of a screw punt kick there by Sean White.
Is that what you call it?
Well, there's many names for it. I suppose if you came from Adelaide, you'd call it a...
They're very good improvisers, aren't they, the Irish boys?
My word. I think they're quite talented. They picked this caper up pretty good. Interchange area there. Free kick picked out of the boundary throw-in, and it will be taken by Scott. He got the ball away to Cresswell. His kick in towards the centre, taken by Kelly. Kelly's played quite well in his 50th game. Long kick by Paul Kelly to the goal line. Kick off the ground by Minton Connell is a goal.
He's 5th.
5 goals, 2 to Simon Minton Connell. Swan supporters pretty happy. They haven't had much to cheer about. 12 goals, 10. Plays 20 goals, 13.
Minton Connell hasn't had that many opportunities. When the ball has gone down the field, they've had to go wide, and then by the time they've tried to centre the ball back up again towards Minton Connell, he's been covered by his men. So if they're able to get themselves a good centre half forward and play a little bit more direct football, Minton Connell would kick a lot more goals.
52 goals he's now kicked for the year. Simon Minton Connell, 82, plays 133 out of the centre from Neil Brunton. Brunton up towards Lovett half forward. Oh, Phoebe got collected twice there.
Oh, he's just jumped in his back.
So must get a free kick. Matthew Phoebe it is. Stephen not in the side today. Was named in the squad.
He's had 2 broken legs in his career, Matthew Phoebe.
Wheeler should mark. Trying to find Tunbridge. Brett Lovett.
Terrific handball.
Yes. Great hand pass onto Lovell. Marking contest at half forward. Wright, Sullivan. Wright has to get rid of it quickly, feeling the tackle. And it's out of bounds. 50 metres from goal. The trainer's doing plenty of work down there today under these hot conditions.
Gary Lyon shaking his head as if to say, why did I get that mark awarded?
Well, he only juggled it 5 times.
Taps it onto Lovell. Lovett. And there's Brett Lovett now. Centering kick. Melbourne having the numbers. Yes,
Shepherding against Bennett. Just kept the opponent Mooney out of the action enough for Cuthbertson to take the mark.
He plays on. It might have been the wrong thing to do. Mooney again tries to tap it forward.
Well,
but Melbourne, yes, they probably will. Sullivan, who's kicked 4, misses with this kick. And it's out of bounds on the full. Free kick to the Swans in the last line of defence.
And even though this side is inexperienced, Gary Buckenham will be very disappointed with the way and the ease they've given up the ball on a number of occasions, just through fundamental skill errors.
Well, what do? Do they go back to the drawing board and just ask them to play man on man, or do you keep encouraging them to try and be playmakers?
Well, I think so. I think it's probably just a learning process, and he knows he's got a young and experienced side, and he just needs to keep teaching them.
Kick goes out towards half-back. Steins couldn't take the mark. Wheeler nearly gave the hand pass away. Then his kick just slews off the side of his boot ever so slightly. Luff, chance. Matthew Phoebe, tackle all right. Goes after the footy. Can't quite control it. Wheeler's followed it up all right. Oh, but Yates controls it nicely. Graham Yates, kick into the left half forward area. Lovell. Short pass, okay. Lovett can run on and have a set shot for goal from about 40 metres out and kick a goal.
Well, he's been a good player all afternoon, Glenn Lovett, hasn't he? And finally caps it off with a goal. But you pointed out Lovell earlier, Robbo, for some good work downfield, and he set it up.
Yep.
Yates. There's that man Yates again, who he's had a wonderful day, hasn't he? He's been out there just running around on his own, and you should be able to get plenty of positions when you are playing that sort of football. And he's set up a number of players. And
had a picnic, Graham Yates.
So the last few seconds of the match, 16 seconds remaining. Lewis pushed in the back. Mitchell, the hand pass is on. Strooper.
Good kick.
Minton Connell, can he kick his 6th goal? He's kicked 6 goals, 2 I have him for. 6 goals, 2. And in fact, there is the siren. 5 goals, 2. He might get 6 goals, 2, because he's 45 metres out, pretty well directly in front. Kick number 8. Might be goal number 6. And in fact, it is. So a good way to finish for Simon Minton Connell. He's finished up with 6 goals, 2 for the afternoon, but not sufficient for Sydney to defeat the Demons, who have run out winners 21-13, 139, defeating Sydney 13-10, 88. Well, a few bright spots for them, I guess. Troy Luff tried hard. Minton Connell up at full forward with 6 goals. David Strooper in the key position. You said he should be on a flank, Robbo, so they're undermanned, but they tried their very best.
Well, I think that they were just beaten by a better side. I mean, what else can you say, Peter? We looked at statistics throughout the match at quarter time, half time and three-quarter time, and Melbourne just outnumbered them on every occasion. Most importantly, I feel, and it is important at the Sydney Cricket Ground, on the smaller grounds, when you break away from the centre, you only need one very effective kick, and all of a sudden you're in a goal-scoring position. And I think if we look at the match stats as we do the summary a bit later on, I'm sure you'll see that Melbourne were far more effective around the centre bounce area. Steins, Todd Viney, Garry Lyon early. He played very well as a ruck rover. And we see there the bottom statistic, which I think is quite relative. 22 breaks from the centre for Melbourne and 11 for the Sydney Swans. Usually, I mean, over the past years, it's been players like Greg Williams who's been in there for the Swans, and I think he was the one that probably gave them first use of the football, getting it up quickly. And they had guys like, I know I'm going back a few years, but Warwick Kappa kicked 100 goals, in excess of 100 goals, as a result of players like Williams feeding it out of the centre to him.
All right, so in the end it was a 51-point win to the Demons. Garry Lyon got 4, finished up with 4 goals too. He got 3 in the first quarter. Jakovich 3. Darren Bennett kicked 5 goals too. The downside for the Demons was the report of Bennett. We believe it was for unduly rough play earlier in the match. Jakovich got 3 and Andy Lovell got 2. For the Sydney Swans, Simon Minton Connell, 6 goals too, certainly stood out. David Strooper got 2, Troy Luff got 2 goals, and the remaining goal kickers were singles for Sydney. Let's look at some of the individual player statistics now. And Jimmy Steins, well, gee, he's always busy. His second half, particularly today on those stats, was brilliant. 20 kicks, Tim, and 5 hand passes, 19 hit-outs.
Well, his hit-outs are 19, and he was a very effective player. Jimmy Steins, he ran all day, and Tunbridge and Dion Scott just couldn't keep up with him, and he played more as a ruck rover today than a ruckman.
Bayes, I think Bayes' most admirable asset is his kicking ability. He had 24 of those, 7 marks. But the distances that he gets with his kicks is certainly a feature, but they need all of their good players in the side to really take advantage of Mark Bayes kicking the ball long into the forward line.
And David Schwarz, who lined up at centre-half forward, went off in the last quarter injured. 11 kicks, 6 handballs, 8 marks, and it wasn't so much his kicks, marks or handballs, but if you look at his tackles there, he had 5 tackles, and he's a very aggressive player, and he creates a lot of openings for the forwards for the Melbourne side.
And Tim, before the game, you mentioned about Darren Cresswell averaging in his 5th game. I think he'd only played 5. This was his 6th, I think, today.
That's right, 20 possessions up till today.
And again, another good performance today. It was excellent, wasn't it?
He's a real find, isn't he? And there, Andy Lovell, he played a wonderful game too. 33 possessions of the ball, and he was a busy player all day. He's been the Melbourne football team's leading possession gatherer, and he was a busy player right to the end.
I think you'd really have to give a lot of credit to David Strooper. He's not a big, strong, robust sort of a person, but he certainly puts in for the Sydney Swans. 14 kicks and 5 handballs. He took 12 marks, kicked 2 goals, and in conjunction with Simon Minton Connell, who kicked 6, they've certainly given the Swans good service this year.
All right, the crowd streaming out of the SCG, of course, a big game today at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, where North Melbourne was playing Collingwood, a game vital for the final aspirations of the Magpies, because it's pretty tight there. 7 teams going for 6 spots, and so far this weekend, well, Carlton, of course, did well.